Greetings and welcome to the Guild of Mazes presenting So You Think You Can Quest, the online live-streamed Dungeons & Dragons-based game show with real cash prizes and precious stones that raises money for rotating community charities. I'm your host and Dungeon Master. And this is just a quick introduction to episode 24 of our open beta development process. Join us this evening as our players conclude a war council with some improvised graph explanations accompanied with some very real-world concerns about the possibilities of the entire townsfolk having to pay the price for our adventurers' would-be heroism. There will be much discussed and also a kidnapping by the end of the episode that our players will rush to resolve lest the entire operation be destroyed before it gets a chance to get off the ground. What happens? Who lives? Who dies? And who walks away with a precious stone? You'll have to tune in to this episode of the Guild of Mazes presents So You Think You Can Quest. Once more, thank you everybody for joining us on this Tuesday episode of the Guild of Mazes presenting So You Think You Can Quest, the online live-streamed Dungeons & Dragons-based game show with real cash prizes and precious stones that helps raise money for rotating community charities. I'm your host and Dungeon Master. And I'm sure that we're going to have a really good game tonight as we get into the 24th episode of our open beta development process. Before we start the night, I want to say a quick shout out to the Heads Up Guys charity, the one that we are helping to raise money for by patron nomination and then community vote. We will be raising money for them until at least the end of January. They help provide both resources and awareness for men struggling with mental health issues, specifically that of depression, so please make sure to check out their organization and throw them some support if you can. And we also have a stream-wide giveaway tonight, so anyone who's in the Twitch chat at the end of the session will have the potential to be in a drawing for a brand new set of ChessX dice, thanks to our sponsor, Kronos Games and Gifts. So big ups to them. And of course, at the end of the night, there is a precious stone to be given away, and we have a new one for the prize pool, a Wonder Stone Jasper from Utah. But before we get there, our contestants will have to go through any number of trials and tribulations. Last session, as it were, they thought all was fine as they bedded down for the eve, only for the newly arrived dwarven fighter to discover at the foot of her bed what seemed to be an ill omen of some stashed treasure, perhaps either forgotten or intended for a recipient of this room after the party. Scraping away some clay as this lump of dirt was found inside of a crude straw mattress, she discovered that inside was a complex red gemstone of some kind set into a quartz backing that seemed to have bizarre inclusions in it that almost hypnotized and mesmerized the mind. Finding out later from a meeting that would come the next day that this was in fact a almost accursed object, a gemstone known as Miner's Mourn, something that forms in deposits deep in the earth after there have been terrible accidents in which live humans or other creatures have been crushed in cave-ins or other accidents, and their souls become trapped in the very rock around them. It is thought to be so accursed that deposits of this can cause entire operations or areas to be abandoned for fear that ill tidings might befall those who continue to stay in such an area. Of course, this was something that ran alongside an already urgent day, as the party was eager to talk to Zetheria of the Cloudforge Ironworkers Guild here in town, having completed the recon mission the day prior to the troll encampment and discovered any number of alarming signs of both magical malfeasance and growing numbers of the increasingly militarized beasts that were making raiding excursions upon the township of Fog Iron Landing, here in the valley south to the proper town of Hope's Rise, to which the guild had been summoned in the first place. Of course, after the day's events in which the cleric was able to once again make contact with a fey creature that he had rescued the day before in that very recon mission, they explained to the party that everything was on a much graver rate of acceleration and danger than they previously imagined, as there was another component at hand here. It seems the organizing troll, one Thelican of the original troll bloodlines, the Enherishar, has come through from the Shadow Plains to make his pain the problem of the material realm, who has long preyed upon and shunned and made villains of the troll kin and those of that bloodline who have been fated to a twisted and cursed fate by all the goddesses. So it seems that with this otherworldly troll prince trying to raise perhaps a troll and otherworldly army to wreak havoc upon this area, things are turning into an increasing situation in which, if the party cannot convince the town's ruling mining operations to work together and pool resources, they may not in fact be able to survive the coming onslaught. Meanwhile, the Guild of Mazes itself, for whom all of the party works, has interest in this area, but also yet more interest perhaps in the dungeon that lurks underneath this township. And it seems Thelican, the troll prince, has some encounter now with a mysterious set of doors underneath hundreds of feet of rock and stone in a nearby ruin that is butted up against a cliff face some miles yet north of Fog Iron Landing. Has Thalican found yet another entrance into the dungeon that the Guild of Mazes seeks? Could this provide a better approach than the last one, which had resulted in 5 of their members being slain by an Naga warrior with 8 arms and 4 greatswords to match? Perhaps they might find an easier way to resolve their quest and also earn the escalating cash prize that awaits any surviving members of the team who manage to step foot inside of the dungeon first. It is currently at about $565 to be split amongst the surviving teammates. Of course, if the party reaches that dungeon, they will have had to have gone through quite a lot, as right now they find themselves in the lounge area of the upper floor of the Cloudforge Ironworkers offices, explaining to these other heads of these mining companies, which I will introduce again shortly in the chat, that they must act lest there be total annihilation on their doorstep. But enough of this. Tonight we shall see who lives and who dies and who walks away with a precious stone and their own brand new set of dice. Tonight on the Guild of Mazes presents So You Think You Can Quest. About to go live. There we go. And everyone, welcome to the stream. We are being joined by a new contestant this evening in the 5th rotating seat who has managed to luck into the role of a rogue, actually, by random chance, and will be joining us, I believe, in the seat only for the evening, but we shall see exactly what transpires, as you never know what encounters might await them. I can see that there they are. Our rogue is returning now from the shadows, with a resounding zank as crackling electric static heralds the tearing open of the fabric of space and time, through which one of the guild members is withdrawn and another guild member is exchanged, having been pushed through the crackling, yawning portal in the Guild of Mazes gathering hall. Kayloon, you re-emerge now, having been flung through the astral highway, almost atomized into millions and millions and millions of separate conceptual entities, only to be slammed back together into a third-dimensional body that has all of these crude limitations imposed upon its consciousness by its physical form. And you look around and you find yourself to be in some sort of board meeting of some kind, perhaps. There is a head in a jar on a pedestal in the center of the room that seems to be in some sort of state of mid-fungal growth that's being preserved in an alcohol that has now been sort of muddied by the presence of this foul thing over time and kind into a sickly green. Behind you, there are charts sitting up on easels that seem to be relating some amount of information, but right now your eyes are having trouble basically tracking all of the different pigments and overlaying them properly, so the room is kind of spinning as the rest of your companions seem to be positioned around, waiting expectantly for you to say something, as the rest of the inhabitants of this room, the rather elderly dwarven man who has so far shown to be fairly contemptuous of the others present, the gnome who has been interjecting a lot as to the both I would say importance of their own works and also the exclusion of others. And then of course there is a pair of humans who seem to be rather fed up with all of this, arms crossed, eyes in a mid-state of being rolled as they listen to the gnome prattle on about their improprieties against the gnome's business interests. Two genasi stand nearby, and their skin color, these startling hues of white and blue, stand in drastic contrast to the sort of dark wood and red leather interior of this lounge that has almost kind of this smoky quality to it. With that, I will not delay the party any longer. Welcome to the room. It is worth noting that the cleric at this point, you still have your enhanced ability of charisma going, so there is one of your party members that seems to have this almost dynamic control of the room in the way that everyone is sort of expectantly looking at them, and you have a feeling that should you not get your game together and immediately start interpreting these charts correctly, then chances are they will likely take over for you. And now, if you will join us on the map, of course, you will find located, there are several graphs, one entitled Concerning Trends in Profit Adverse Troll Activity, and then, of course, also next to you, you see a couple of other graphs that seem to be similarly labeled. These ones are pie charts, but they seem to indicate some sort of likely occurrence of the splitting of profits and labors should the meeting that you are all engaging in happen to fail, as we've got now the helpful graph up here that just says without and is just half obliterated with the accompanying slices of the pie shaded in to indicate what might transpire. And then over here, of course, we've got the one that predicts the timetable across which all of these sorts of things might transpire.
Excuse me for the rude interruption of our friend here, but since Mr. Shine had something else to do, he's been replaced with someone really capable of explaining to you what will happen if you don't help us with the maximum of your abilities. And I try to.
Very true. Quite true. The maximum of your abilities needs to be applied.
We need soldiers. We need people. We need funds. We need anything that can help us defeat the trolls and their invasion.
Yeah, Trolls Invasion, bad. Trolls Invasion, very, very bad. We don't want that. We need your help for sure. As you can see in this chart, right? With, things are great. Without, things are bad. Very bad. Definitely.
And we know that you're mostly concerned, or as businessmen, we know you're mostly concerned about profits. And as you can tell by this chart on the right, the more trolls we have alive and fighting, your profits and money, they plummet.
These charts do seem to have a compelling quality to them. All right, whoever would like to, but I will only take one of these. Go ahead and give me a persuasion check with advantage. I believe at this point, our newly arrived rogue Kaloon is the most positioned to do this.
I'm definitely good for it. I'm very convincing.
All right, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
That was right.
No worries. Sometimes it takes a second to load. There we go. All right. So with that 17, that is not bad. I'm going to make some rolls on behalf of the representatives in response to this. And it seems like you're able to convince the humans, Cantle and Wyatt, have seemed fairly reasonable in this entire exchange, except for the fact that they came in pretty heated and didn't really want to hear out everyone with what you would call a good faith amount of patience, and immediately began sort of leveraging personal business complaints against the other two. Whether or not these things are well founded, the party is sort of without the context to know. They seem to be nodding, and it seems that as well the dwarf is in full tilt acceptance of this plan as he begins to nod knowingly and trace the lines on the projected timetable with his finger as if they mean something exceedingly important to him, as if he has a wisdom of some kind in this arena that might add on to it. And it is the gnome at last, though, that it looks like is going to be the holdout, as he does not seem to be interested in these charts and graphs at all. I would wonder exactly who are you getting to formulate these numbers? Are you finding them from multiple sources? Have these been cross-checked? I mean, we're supposed to take you at face value that these things are accurate figures?
The Guild of Mazes has traveled all across these lands, dealing with multiple enemies and situations. We've been sent here to help these lands and help this city. These numbers come from our past dealings with creatures of all kinds.
That is fine. Except what I'm not exactly understanding here is that I feel like you are missing my grander point, which is that while this may be disastrous for certain parties here who find themselves unprepared for such instances, the Holden Mining and Grade Company is going to be fine. I hate to sound callous, but the townsfolk are going to likely leave, those of whom cannot afford to stay in such troubling times, and we own the top portion of this mine. What business do we have defending the lower base of this cliff face that we find ourselves on? The trolls would have to get through hundreds of feet of fortified mine shaft before they actually bother our main operation that is quite elevated from here. Explain to me why, and I hate to sound crass, should I not just let all of you die?
If you think that you are well defended enough for what we're facing, I think you're gravely mistaken. What we're dealing, you think you're able to defend against Malfey and a portal to the Fey Wilds that just gonna invite endless stream of trolls and monsters.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think I think that our Gail and I can explain this further to Mr. Templin here. Mr. Templin, it's really obvious that everyone in this room can see the greater picture. But you cannot. And, well, you could let us die. But what would happen to your reputation? I don't think that you want to be known as Templin the Coward. Wouldn't you? Someone who let the city dies, his commerce dies, and most importantly, all the money and people that you lose. And I think you should maybe change your idea. Don't you think, Gail?
Yes, I'm going to step to the front of the room and I'm going to grab the chart and I'm going to put it in this guy's face and I'm say, look, and with my best intimidation technique, you have to understand it's going to look something like Gaston raising the crowd to go after the beast. Or maybe if you've ever seen The Music Man, you got trouble. You got trouble, my friends, right here in Fog Iron Landing. You got trouble with a capital T, and what else rhymes with T? It's trolls. You have to understand, we have to deal with these trolls. And I'm going to roll, hopefully, for intimidation with my great intimidation skills.
Go ahead and roll and intimidate. Would someone like to aid him right now?
Yes.
All right, go ahead and roll to aid with that for the intimidate NL, and we will see if you will be able to grant Gale advantage. Oh, whoa, that's a real dark dice for some reason. But yeah, that 15 is going to be more than enough to aid Gale, who will now roll with advantage. And, ooh, that advantage is going to come in handy, as that will get it up to a 24 intimidation. I'm going to roll on the other side of this as... Oh, the music's getting a little loud. But the gnome, it looks like, given this situation, is going to start... really second-guessing their initial reaction to this as they start to kind of like look around the room, and with every other party present scowling and indicating that they may in fact be wrong about their approach to this, they are going to begin to back down, and slowly you will hear the gnome grumble and say quietly, "Well, okay, so... perhaps it might be more profitable if I were to invest now rather than later. I can appreciate that. Except the only thing that I'm now having trouble with is exactly what are we all going to be committing? I have troops of various expense, if you know what I mean, and I don't exactly want to go throwing away all of my gold and watch all of you go throwing away your silver. So we need to discuss exactly what are we all willing to accept as the cost of doing business here in Fog Iron Landing. I don't know if we are going to be able to make this into a profitable venture for all of us. We might just have to walk away.
The situation we face is dire, and I know you're trying to protect your bottom lines and your shareholders, but the coming war ahead of us. We only have one chance. If we die, not only do we die, but the trolls and the leaders, they'll come in and storm the town, taking over everything. We plead with you to invest now and hopefully cut your losses and give us everything you can, because we only have one shot at this.
I'm going to hold the head up again so he can see it real close.
And imagine people talking about you and your company, Tambling the hero. He charges at first with his companion, sending all of his soldiers without repenting, just so he can save everyone without holding back anything. Imagine you can be Tambling the Great.
We can only do this with your help, and if with your help we can pull this off, and if we are able to claim victory, you'll all be heroes.
Stories are worth a lot
I
of
find
money.
heroics are often a low return investment for those who have already committed their resources to other endeavors, but I see your point. I will not have myself berated by this crowd any longer. I'm willing to cooperate, but now we must discuss the more pertinent issues here.
Which is?
I have perhaps 20 armed soldiers that I can contribute. Realistically, at the end of the day. I could pull some miners that are likely to volunteer for that as well, maybe a dozen or two, but they are not all stout enough or stern enough to necessarily fight this kind of battle. We're going up against an enemy that is not kobolds or goblins or even orcs. As much as I would hate to see that happen to this mining encampment, you have to admit that there might be something a little bit easier in the cell if these creatures weren't nearly twice our vertical height and maybe 5-6 times our size. I've seen these trolls already tear a man in two, and likely if I've seen it, then so have the miners as well. So that's 20 from me. Looking around the room now, Bulwart, what are you offering? Bulwart, the dwarf, thinks about it for a moment and says,
Well, I could perhaps bring to the table,
Bulwart is going to run through a mental catalog of his forces and go,
I could, a similar 20, perhaps, well-trained soldiers, and I could put the call out to the miners and perhaps even offer a bit of extra pay if they were to participate, but much like our companion Tamlin here, I don't think that we'll find that there's much more than maybe a dozen or so of the stout hammers that are willing to go into battle. However, and this is something for Cantle and Wyatt to consider, there are a number of dwarven townsfolk here that are newly arrived who would make stout combatants. Unlike you humans, we tend to have the time to train in a number of things growing up in the halls, one of which is proper combat, especially against the likes of trolls. The damn things are as if an infestation if you do not have the proper tools and regiment to deal with them. So, however, the dwarves have a bit of bad politic here in the township, and admittedly it's well deserved at this point, but that was actions on behalf of the stout hammers and not the settling folk. So if the Turners and the Brights can see their way to maybe facilitating some more generous hospitality, I could perhaps recruit some of those townsfolk in this coming war and bolster our numbers. But that would be on you. At this point, Cantle and Wyatt will speak. Cantle is going to insist that
while you may say that it would be on us to facilitate the humans and the dwarves having a better population, intermingling of community, whatnot, the thing that you're forgetting is that you lied, Bulwart, to all of us, knowingly. People don't forget that, and they tend to look suspiciously on those who have associated themselves with known liars. It's kind of a problem. Wyatt at this point is going to not really approach that, but say instead the Brights and the Turners could offer 15 trained soldiers and put out a similar bounty of silver or gold for our miners to join up. But we'll find that what with business being a little bit competitive of late, we haven't had the same payroll opportunities that our compatriots here have. The room will fall silent for a moment if the party is going to interject anything at this point. However, if no one says anything...
I'm going to nudge Rydell and say, bring your friend. It's the time to convince them and go with everything.
I'll say some, I'll step up. These are all very generous offers, and we surely appreciate it. Once more, I'll plead you that this is not the time to be conservative with numbers, as we will only get one shot at this. If any of you are holding out any additional resources or soldiers, please, this is the time to be generous for all of our sakes.
Can I just ask? I know I showed up here in the middle, but are you really holding back soldiers? Are you really suggesting that the miners will not fight if the other opportunity here is that your town and mine are surrounded by trolls and you can dig as much metal as you want and it's never going to go anywhere and you will never make another penny here?
There's been lots of talk of differing politics, and I think this is a perfect opportunity for everyone to unite against one common cause.
Yeah.
Listen, we're not saying that anybody is holding back soldiers here. However, we're all trying to figure out right now, communally, whether or not this is going to be something that is winnable. If all of us cannot or will not commit, then all of us should not commit. It would be suicide against odds like this. I agree, were it a smaller problem, were it something of more minor threat, it would be preposterous for us to be haggling with each other in this way. But at a certain level, our lives are on the line here, as well as, I don't know about you, but I report to superiors. This is a branch office. If things are untenable here, then my company can simply withdraw, and we will be fine elsewhere. This is not the end-all, be-all of mining operations in all of Eidolon. It seems silly to throw our lives away when we could perhaps withdraw for now, evacuate the township perhaps, and come back with a proper fighting force when we're not concerned with civilian casualties. That's all I'm saying.
The only option here is to win. If we're defeated and the trolls take over, what makes you think that they won't go beyond Fog Iron Landing? They want to take over our whole world.
This is certainly true. What I'm saying is that it would be much easier to fight them as a unified band from the highlands of the Rise itself, miles from here, rather than in the very forest to which they've become acclimatized. How many are we going to lose fighting them on their terrain? It seems as if a difficult ask, when all of us are bound here not by a loyalty to the region, but by coin.
I'm gonna walk in front of them and say, "Do you wanna hear numbers of soldiers that died fighting them now? Or if you want, I could tell you a story. It is a story of how me and 4 of my compatriots killed this troll. I was there. We were 5 against 10, 12. Some small, some medium, some large. We were 5. We killed 1, injured 2. And 3 of us died. With more soldiers, more trained than when we tried to kill them. We're gonna win if we put our mind to it. We have risked our life to find the solution to cease the regeneration. We have the weapon to stop them, to stop their numbers now. And the thing is, if they take this place, we won't have that weapon anymore. So now,
I understand this, and again, I'm not asking you to not do anything. I'm just asking you to understand our positions. But so you have brought us here together to talk to us about this, and it seems like all of us here have been willing to pledge troops, except for our hostess, who's remained silent, I might add, this whole time.
Zetheria at this point will step forward and calmly state that the Cloudforge Ironworkers Guild is willing to offer no less than 35 trained soldiers. However, we cannot afford to spare any of our miners in this. We know that they are ill-equipped for such battle, and as such, we will likely be spending some of our precious money to hire mercenaries. We could ask the same of you. Bulwart and Tamblin are going to have kind of cross reactions to this, as that does sort of throw a little bit of shade on their moral intention here. But with hearing that, Wyatt and Cantle, it looks like, are going to be a little bit more receptive to the situation, seeing that some of the others are willing to kind of up the ante on their contributions. So that is going to bring it to a place where now, looking at the guild, there have been varying pledges of 20, 25, and I believe a similar, no, 2 20s and a 25, I believe, as well as a 35 commitment of soldiers. But that's it. I mean, that brings you to just shy of, about 100, really.
We could not muster much more. Even with the guard, you could expect maybe another 25, 30. Assuming we get a few extras in here from either town or the miners themselves, you'll have a fighting force of effectively perhaps 150 standing soldiers, some trained, some untrained. We've got a little bit of magic to speak of, but not much. There's weaponry here, sure, but without proper hands to wield it, it won't be very effective. Not against creatures that regenerate. So, what I'm now asking you is, what is your battle plan? We've got the numbers. Surely there aren't 150 of these trolls. But I would fight them from the highland. I would give them the ground. This township is not worth the cost. Without there being people here to pillage from, the trolls will likely stop their raids. They will be forced to come further into the town proper, where we might be able to rally greater numbers, use better positioning, and the terrain to our advantage. Rather than, what is your plan? We rally the troops together now in the next couple days and go trompsing off into the woods? They could come at us from any side. The mist is thick, and the trees tall and dark.
Good thing we had some friends that the mist isn't a problem for them. I point to Rydell. There you go.
There's one more force that has not been brought up to the table yet. The Fae I mentioned earlier, and I believe we've all agreed that working with them in exchange for 1 day off mining would not only increase profits, but would increase our battle odds. I think it would be wise to bring them in now to secure and confirm this deal. And I believe they have the most information about the leaders' whereabouts and their plans. I think bringing them in now and discussing would be the best choice.
So, we... and as a dwarf, you have to understand, we have a relationship with the fair folk who dwell both beneath the stone and under the tree stump. But even if we have this light on our side to dispel the mist, we're attacking a fortified position, are we not?
Yes, we are.
Better have them come to us, is it not?
I'm not sure what the best option here is. Like I said, our Fae companion Yanasia has the most information about the situation. So, if no one has any objections, I'd like to bring them here.
Certainly, if they're willing to speak, now is the time. We're not going to find ourselves in less danger, I imagine.
I'll use my friend stone to contact Yanasia and say, like, they've agreed to halt mining operations for a day. I'll tell them how many forces everyone's able to muster, and then invite them to come as soon as possible for a battle plan.
All right. Yanasia will be able to arrive momentarily. Being nearby, having anticipated this, she will be able to make use of her Fae abilities, and in a clap of light, she will emerge, a shower of fine crystal dust sort of scattering into the air and causing this almost dazzling display. Once again, wrapped in her crystalline wings to conceal their form, they are going to address the council, and Yanasia is going to beseech everyone, explaining the same circumstance that she did to Rydell. This character was originally anyway, I was going to explain the situation to Rydell. Rydell is, you may remember from yesterday, and as I said in the intro, the troll Thalakin of the Enherishar is coming, theoretically with a legion of shadow beasts of some kind, should they be able to get these portals open. He has discovered some sort of set of doors deep within the, depths underneath the Hope's Rise, and seems to be dedicated to trying to retrieve or enhance some sort of power that they have, though the exact details of that were iffy, as it seems Yanasia was only able to gather so much information while in the troll's captivity. That is more or less it, as she will explain that she knows where the ruins are, but not what state they are in, and not if they are even truly the Troll's main headquarters, as they likely have small outposts throughout all of the lower valleys. They have managed to create a network using some of the Malfey here in this forest, in the same way that I have gone around and tried to gather the Fae. The Nixies, use as messengers. They likely have the support of trolls not from just this side of the ranch lands, but also further to the east, as there is likely no troll or ogrekin in the lower valleys that could refuse an offer such as Thalicant's, with promises of power reclaimed and more raiding to come and more chaos and war. He has a seductive bargain for yet all of them. I would hope that you might understand that this is not something that we can afford to let slip by. With each day that passes, Thalican unearths new understanding of the ruins in this area and works yet more magic to try and jumpstart these shadowy gates. There could be, at this moment, yet creatures gathering that we do not know the true nature of. And believe me, the creatures that the Troll Prince can call upon are not the same thing that haunt the dreams of the children here in the material realm. They are creatures that haunt the nightmares of those creatures.
I'm gonna go to Ryder and say, well, I didn't expect her to say that. In his ear.
As I'm gonna make a couple of rolls here in regards to both her ability to convince and their ability to be persuaded. It looks like things are going in the party's favor for the time being, as everyone takes her word rather seriously. Of course, ever kind of problematic Tamblin at this point is going to, okay, well, I understand that we might have a chance here and the necessity that we're facing, but what kind of a time frame are we mobilizing on? This is not a small feat that we're undertaking here.
I'll turn to Yanasia and say, we wouldn't have any of this information if it wasn't for you, so I trust your judgment, and I hope you can advise us a little on what the best time frame and plan is for our force that we've gathered.
I would say immediately. There is no time to be lost. The only thing that concerns me, however, is that without a proper army to speak of, one misstep could be complete destruction. Likely, if we assault their main encampment without the appropriate amount of preparation, our numbers will break upon them. Even with 150 and the support of the Fae, their regeneration abilities denied, the trolls still have a battle prowess and a constitution far beyond that of most any of us, I'm afraid. They are still going to be mighty warriors to be overcome. So I must also then warn that we may need to consider a slower approach, something a little more methodical. However, I know not all of the locations of their troops or where their plans lie or when they plan to attack next. These things are all beyond what I was able to learn. Which means that without a small bit more of information, we could find ourselves at the mercy of an ambush or some sort of counterattack. Should the trolls see our fighting force heading north, and they decide to attack Fog Iron Landing, there will be nothing to stop them.
I believe a slow approach is wise. Perhaps we could have the bulk of our force lie in wait or in hiding, and send in a more tactical strike team, and see if we can get more information, or perhaps with everyone's resources, we're able to make radiant bombs, and see if we can sabotage them before sending in the brunt of a force.
Is some scouting in order?
I believe that scouting is, at this point, a foregone conclusion. I would not have it any other way. The question becomes who is to do it.
I think we all know the answer right now, right? As I look to my compatriot. Nobody
Is it us?
will do it except us.
I got here. It's us, right?
I'm pretty sure it is.
I think you might be right.
It's us. Yeah. Sorry, I forgot you were new.
That will suffice, certainly. However, there are a few more things to attend to. So, let us prepare here for a moment and be sensible. If the scouting mission is successful and you return with the necessary information, that puts us on a timeline of a few days with which to move north, during which we can prepare our forces. But what do we do in the event that while you are gone, something is to occur? From what I understand, and what you've said already, it sounds like we're kind of already sitting ducks here.
Honestly, we can just we don't add that answer. You can just prepare your forces and maybe explain the general plan, that what we're facing, what our enemies, what are facing, what are our combined troops doing, and maybe just prepare some barricade for Garan Landing while we wait for us.
If there's some place that the townspeople and workers could go, perhaps evacuating the town just as a safety measure and taking valuables could be wise in case they come with a counterattack that we aren't prepared for.
Well, I take a little bit of exception to this. We are here now at kind of the point that I was arriving at earlier, and I feel like Bulwart is kind of dancing around now, is that the scouting occurs, and we move north. The trolls are going to see this, are they not? I mean, are we not being watched? They're hitting our caravans. They're raiding when we seem ill-prepared. It seems as if, likely, if we move forward into the trees with 150 strong, even perhaps some mounted, they're going to be able to see that coming for a couple days away. How do we know that they're not watching us right now? I mean, not to be paranoid, they probably aren't in this room, but they could have scouts in the village.
I'm gonna turn the head as just like I'm playing with it, so it watches trembling.
Sure. Tamblin is gonna, obviously kind of make a face at you and be a little aghast, but I mean, crude humor aside, the situation remains that I am a bit concerned, honestly, that we can pull this off without overextending ourselves. What do we do? I mean, so much of this relies upon us being able to attack them without them seeing it coming. If I was them at this point, I would imagine that we've got to do something or face extinction. So even if we send the civilians and the miners and whatnot, away over into the ranch lands or north to the rise, they'll likely see that. What if they hit them while they're on the road in the forest? That caravan out of position? Do we send all of our guards to defend them? There are so many problems here that seem like if we miss this at all, we're going to get knocked over.
I'm sorry. Just so I know what we all actually know, do we only know for sure of the one camp, or have we seen others? Or
Yanasea is certain that there is another larger camp at the ruins that she's speaking of, the ones at the cliff face to the north. However, what she's even suggesting beyond that is that she doesn't know that that's the limit to the camps. There might be even more to that. She was unable to really get a whole picture. So, I mean, Yanasea is not bringing that up now, so that's not like in the discussion, but that does sort of leave everyone with this tactical dilemma. There's a risk here, sort of no matter what strategy it seems like at the moment that the party goes with. Should you wait, or should you overextend, they may be able to counterattack. But if you can catch them out of position somehow, you might have good fortune. The issue is creating the opportunity. Can't step
do
forward.
we have?
Do we
have it? Oh, sorry.
Let's go.
What were you going to say, Ulta?
Do we have any means of magically scrying on them instead of sending us out to scout? Can we, I don't. She doesn't have she's a fighter, so she doesn't know a whole lot about magic. But like, does anyone have like animals they could send out, or a way to see far, or anything that we could kind of track some of their movement?
No, I don't think so. Kealoon, you wanted to say something? Or
I was just going to say, I don't think that it's feasible to try to surprise these trolls. If we're going to take an army of 100 people, I don't think we're going to have any element of surprise ever. If we're so we could take half of our troops, and I mean the troll camp only has like maybe 24 trolls in it, right? Could we make a raid on that camp? Or we could set a trap. If they're raiding our caravans, then why don't we pretend to be a caravan and hide as many soldiers as we can in the trees, and when they attack us, we take them out.
Well, actually, I don't have too much of a problem with that.
damn, Gil.
I could see there being some issues, but it seems that drawing these trolls to a location is going to be safer, even if just to control the field of engagement. The question that I have, however, for all of us here is, what do we use to set bait for the trolls? Because even if they send a raiding party of 3 or 4, that's not going to be enough to significantly damage their hold in the region. We need to entice them to send more, something that we can really disadvantage them with should we be able to emerge victorious.
I mean,
Can I just ask?
Yeah, please.
Our sticking point is the safety of the town, correct?
That's, as guild operatives who aren't necessarily here for that, you're using that as a leverage point, but what you're concerned with and what you're trying to accomplish.
This is in character.
Oh, got you. Sorry.
So, I am a simple collector of trinkets and cards, but my understanding from dealings with people that I've had to deal with previously is that if you want to draw a lot of people to a certain location, the easiest way to do it is to threaten something they want. If we want to make sure that there are no trolls to raid the village when the army marches out, then all we have to do is find some way to draw the trolls in rather than out.
I think I may have an idea for that.
Go ahead.
How many ingots, trinkets, gold, shiny thing can we fit in one caravan?
Well, I mean, that's not really an issue. We are pulling valuable materials out of the ground almost every day. We could easily create some sort of chests or laden caravan. I think what I'm most confused with is how we're going to make the trolls take note without also overplaying our hand. Zetheria will step forward. I think that would be an issue of subtlety, and I think that might be perhaps again entrusted to our companions here, as she motions to the guild representatives who are seated about the room. Would you be capable of planting some sort of interest amongst the trolls? So far, you've proven the ability to make it to their camp and return successfully twice. Would you be able to do it perhaps a third time and guarantee that we could lead them into some sort of trap?
Yes, here's what I think we should do. Let's build a giant wooden rabbit, and we'll all hide inside it and give it to them as a gift. And when they pull it inside, we'll jump out and surprise them.
I have to say, I was with him up until a moment ago. It's as if the idea went right off of a cliff there. Giant construction projects aside, would you be willing? As he again seconds the question from Zetheria.
I mean, we have. Maybe not sure. We have something they want, but we have someone they want. As I look to the Fae, do you think they would take the bait to retake you?
I don't think that would be an issue.
We understand your reluctance, but I'm sure, are frustrated or definitely missing your presence as a prisoner, and seeing you could only enrage them further, which would allow us to lure them right into our trap.
It is more of an issue of... should they follow us into this trap, I must wonder what would happen should the worst befall us. Are we not putting our most valuable players in this situation in the most danger at this time?
Yeah. And
I appreciate.
we face death every day. We face danger every day. It's nothing new to us. We're willing to do that, to save everything. So, are you willing to help us as a being of good, as you said? Isn't that the plan, maybe the plan of the universe, that you help us save everything?
I am
the bigger plan
willing
is
to assist.
And
I hope only that this is the wisest choice.
You are right. This is extremely risky. However, this is the only plan we've been able to muster. We're definitely open to hearing any other offers, but it seems like this is the one we have.
I am not a warrior, unfortunately. These finer elements of war are lost on those who often go entire lifetimes or ages without warring. I trust you, and I have hope that this
town will still be standing in the weeks to come. I will leave you now. If I am to accompany you to the troll camp at some point here in the future, then I must inform some of the others that I may be absent in the days to come should the worst happen. And I would prefer that there was a plan in place.
Don't worry, it's cooking in there.
Be sure to rally some of your fighters while you're there.
I will rally all of those who I can.
All right. So, does anyone have anything else to say? Anything helpful to say? I may point. If you just want to whine again, please stay silent, everyone. We have a plan, and we have a town to save. So, does anyone have anything helpful to say? As I point to the two humans, the dwarf and the...
Tamblin is going to simply kind of huff and say, I would point out that none of this is binding. But
I said whining. Let's go. Let's go Guild of Mazes. We have a plan to do and to prepare.
So 2 days, everybody make your plans. We march in 2 days, is that right?
We scout in 1 day. We march in 2 days. Let's say that, all right?
Fair enough.
I will take my leave. And disappearing as quickly as she came, Yanasia will sort of disappear into a shimmering light that slowly dissolves. Meanwhile, the rest of the party is going to notice that all of the sort of like crystal glitter that she emerged in has persisted and is now all over the carpet, and likely is going to be a pain to clean.
Such is the nature of glitter.
Such is the nature of glitter. Though at this point, Zetheria is going to basically be on the same page as Inel and try and get these people out of here as fast as possible before anybody has a chance to continue disagreeing. And that is going to bring it down to one more check on her behalf. And it looks like they are going to succeed in more or less finding some amount of peace for the evening, as Zetheria thanks them each individually before leaving. Except, however, Cantle and Wyatt are going to manage to pull her aside, and it looks like they have a quick sort of 4 or 5 minute conversation before departing. And Zetheria sort of wiping the concern from her brow, though looking still exhausted, as you might remember from earlier in the day. She is now so relieved as she sighs, the door clicking shut, her organizer making sure to see out the last of the attendees. And now looking at the rest of the party, we'll say, well, that could have gone worse. However, thank you for your assistance. I doubt that we would have a unified effort here at all were it not for your insistence. The mood could be better, I admit. But I will think that given the time to sleep it over, they will come around to what is surely the only logical choice for them.
Thank you. Can I ask one thing? Did our scout made a map of the camp by any chance?
Wesdrin has made a rough approximation of the troll camp that he was able to explore while on his reconnaissance with you. As to this other camp that exists yet somewhere else, I have little information about the ruins that it is built into, or really that section of the wood at all. You'll see that most of the mining operations have a pretty short range of influence outside of Fog Iron Landing. There's not much prospecting that has gone on down here in the Southern Valley. The wood proves too dangerous, as you were experiencing firsthand. It has actively discouraged many smaller operations. Were it not for our mutual funding and benefactors, we wouldn't even be here now.
I see. Can you tell Western to give me a copy of that map, or the one he made, if possible, of the token?
I can have one produced for you by the morning, easily. I have the original on file here, and I will have one of my assistants go over it. It's fairly simple but effective. Is there anything else that I can do for the lot of you before you depart for the evening? It's worth noting at this time, it's approximately about 8 o'clock, as the meeting began at 6, and it's taken about 2 hours in real time, actually, for it to be accomplished.
Do you have news of the radiant possibilities that we could have for this assault?
I'm afraid that Bulwart's Bulwart's assessment of our situation is unfortunately true. We could create quite a bit of holy water, as well as purchase more from the surrounding area. But as far as the actual abilities of an experienced cleric, I'm afraid that we have little to offer.
Only for now, the radiant water will be quite enough with what I have in plan.
I have a question.
Yes.
About the miners. What was that stone that?
The miner's mourn. Yeah, that you had entrusted to Zetheria to destroy.
So hypothetically, if we were to take some of that miner's mourn, would it affect the trolls camp if we were to hide it in the trolls camp the same way it affects our camp? I wonder.
This is absolutely a possibility. Except the only thing that I understand about Miner's Mourn is that it seems to draw its effect from quantity and time. Once it has been moved from a location, it must take that much more time based on the size of the deposit. While the stone that you produced for us would have some sort of ill effect on the community of trolls, it might take weeks or months for it to manifest. If we were able to find a cartload, a wagon full of this sort of thing, then we could speed that process up to likely a couple of days. This is why it is so universally feared in mining operations. And I would ask yet still if you've been able to uncover exactly the origins of that sample. I worry for the safety of my employees working in a mine that may be contaminated with this substance.
When was the last time you saw some of that stuff here?
Only the sample that you've brought to me, but there are numerous abandoned mine shafts all over this particular area. It could have come from anyone's operation. And what with the companies having ownership over certain mines and a want to keep this sort of thing silent, obviously, it could have come from any one of us, even those here in this meeting. It does not do me any good to think about the fact that one of us might be sitting on top of a deadly secret at this very moment.
So we could go over with her what we did. I'll let her know that we did do a bit of an investigation back at the end to find out who was there.
Mm-hmm.
And describe that red and black cloak with the initials of RM, if it sounds like anybody that she knows.
I think we did last time, didn't we?
She was able to. She recognized the description of the stranger, as the red and black cloak was very vibrant in its stitching and coloration.
Right.
However, what she was able to discover was that while he was in town meeting with one of the other mining operations, she does not know which one.
That's right. I'm sorry.
No worries. So that means that she is, somewhat aware of this, but there's still no confirmation whether or not this is a plant or whether or not it's a cover-up. And those two things have drastically different sort of implications for the community at this point. You can see that even in the instance that there is some sort of deposit of that toxic substance present, that she seems to want to keep it quiet regardless and perhaps get it dealt with without raising an alarm. But past that, she doesn't have too much else to offer on the subject. Is there anything else you'd like to discuss with her before she has you ushered out of the building and into the night air of Fog Iron Landing?
Guild, let's take our leave and lay our plans.
Did I'm sorry, one more thing before she
please.
Did we ask her I know we told her there was going to be a guild function, but did we ask her about Vasker?
You did not ask her. Oh no, you had asked her, I believe, about. Yeah, no, because you had communicated the Vasker thing, as well as Gale had mentioned that there seems to be likely some sort of guild convention in the local inn that's coming in a number of days or weeks from now. That's going to be going for some time. That she seemed also unfamiliar with. Vasker does not ring any bells to her.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't write that down last time, so I forgot.
Yeah,
Thank
no worries.
you.
All right, let's go to our room. I'm gonna share my plan. It's gonna. Let's go, group. It's time for dinner.
Right.
Yeah, because I have some questions with the plan too that I didn't want to bring up in front of everyone.
I mean, yeah.
That's how you know they're really good questions.
Let's eat and discuss not dying.
Yep.
All right. Please, as the inn at this point has been sent word by Zetheria that you are all on the tab of the Cloud Forge Ironworkers Guild, as per a request that was made last session for a little bit of aid, perhaps financially. You are going to find yourself treated to, all of the best reserves that this humble inn has to offer, which basically, is the equivalent of, what you would find in a mediocre setting up north in the town proper. But still, it's nice to have ale that doesn't have what seem to be like physical clumps in it, as well as food that has been cared for and well cooked. The servers and the staff of the inn seem to have an entirely different disposition to you now, rather than the rest of the coming and going commoners, as they have seen you for a couple of days and rumor has now traveled. Though they're not, of course, really familiar with the significance of the Guild of Mazes, they do know would-be adventurers and heroes when they hear of them. So please, take it away. Everybody, if you have questions or concerns.
Well, I guess I should start because I'm the one that have the plan.
Take it away.
All right, I'm gonna put my map of the region on the table and say, here's the camp.
If you like, I can switch us over now to the. My browser just crashed. Well, hold on. But I was just about to offer. I can switch everyone over to the troll map that you left off on. So you can kind of if you want to draw on top of that and point some things out and whatnot. Or you're happy to do it in theater of mind. I don't know. I don't want to overcomplicate it.
I think theater of mind would be enough. If unless someone prepared the actual map.
Oh no, I'm just saying I could put you onto the.
Yeah, I'm asking the others. Do you prefer the actual map or just the other?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, if we're talking about stuff with the camp, it would be nice to be able to look at specifics.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing it as well.
Let me make sure that I've got the right one. That's not it. I believe. I have to check this one out. This should be the appropriate one. Oh. Of course I misclick and likely send one to the wrong area. There we go. Oh. Here we go. Yep. Trolls are loading in.
Give me a minute or two for it to load.
Yep. Hold on. And also,
I'm gonna explain my plan.
It looks
My
like
mask.
my roll 20 on one of these browsers is having a rough time catching up. That's strange. 1 second. I'm gonna try. I might have to log out of my account and log back in really quick. Did everybody else move over to the troll map?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, I
it's
can
just the stream account that didn't. That's easy enough to fix. One moment.
While it's loading, I'm just gonna talk about my.
Yeah, no, please. While that's going, I'm not trying to stop the flow of things. I was just trying to be helpful.
I'll make some content while it's loading.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. So please, I mean, players, feel free to discuss the task ahead of you while
I may have an idea. I mean, it's not the best, but it's the only one we got, I think.
Oh, I see what happened here.
So, in the
Take it away.
trolls game, my plan is to set a trap with some spells that we have. I was thinking of casting web and adding my web in some place and leading the trolls to the web with your friend Fate. While we're doing that, yeah, right on.
So, I guess a couple questions. So, what benefit would setting a trap at the camp we've already explored be? I thought the talk was trying to scout out this larger camp at the ruins. Also, specifically with web, trolls are exceptionally strong, so I don't know how long the web would be able to hold them.
I only need maybe 10 seconds, but yeah.
Sorry, because there was also talk of using a caravan to bait them out of the camp so that we weren't going just back there. Also, I have concerns with using the Fae as bait.
I have a question. I'm sorry. What is it that we're trying to accomplish?
All right. My plan is for our force to have a setup point in the forest, just with a little bit of our force, so we have at least one stronghold that can serve as a waypoint for the next battle. I'm trying to think of taking that camp for our own forces and using it as not maybe just like a bastion of something, so we can hold it for, and after that take camp after camp while still having some soldiers there to send us messages to know if they are coming to Fulgaron Landing.
So to clarify, what we're trying to accomplish is to destroy these trolls. Is that what we're trying to do?
I mean, yeah.
And okay, so first of all, we have another camp, but this camp here only has a couple dozen trolls in it at the most. Do we really need 100 people? And if we do 100 people, why do we need to be secret? We should be able to raid that camp with 100 people easily.
The thing is, I want some soldiers to stay back. Maybe not even 100 people. Maybe just 30 soldiers, 40 soldiers, which will be enough for my plan. I want to. Yes.
We have, from what I got from the meeting, we have two things that we need to accomplish. The first is the scouting mission, which we've said we're going on tomorrow, and then the second is the actual attack on the trolls' main camp. So you're talking about the attack on the main camp, right?
Yeah, but I'm thinking that.
Is the main camp the one that is up on the map now?
No, we don't even know how many camps there are.
We don't. There's the only camp we know of. So my idea is maybe they have some
Well,
document.
you know that there's 2 camps technically. Yeah. You don't know what the upper limit, but you know there's a minimum of 2.
Yeah, I think at the very least, so the biggest one we know of is the one at the ruin. I think.
But we don't know where the ruins are.
I think.
Yannisea.
I thought we do. Yeah.
Yannisea does. The townsfolk don't, but Yannisea does.
So we would be able to know where that is.
Yeah, but I mean, which
is this camp the closest camp though?
That we know, yeah.
That you know of. I mean, likely based on the fact that it is fairly close. It's hard to imagine that there's another one closer that's gone unnoticed. But you know, I mean, it's always a possibility.
My my plan is that we raid this camp, but we first all of us may we scout ahead and make some preparation, make some trap with holy water and everything that can make the trolls less easier to fight for our soldiers. Since we are the yes, right.
I don't see a benefit of raiding the camp we already scouted, especially if it's just going to be the 5 of us taking on at least 12 trolls.
No, we're not attacking on the first day. I want us to make some traps on the and wait for our soldiers to come on the second day.
I'm kind of I guess I'm confused too. What the end goal is with raiding that particular camp?
Gaining information and having having one less camp close to Fogaran Landing.
I think we already have. I mean, we already did the scouting mission on this camp and got as much information. I don't know how much more information there would be. Just
information. Maybe some trolls or have some information on where the other camps are. If we capture one and interrogate it, find a way to interrogate him.
I believe also I think just to clarify here, I think one of the details that's gone slightly awry is that the return to the closer of the 2 camps was pitched in the necessity of setting the lure to draw them out towards the trapped caravan. And so whether or not it's a scouting mission, there is going to have to be some sort of interaction with that camp in order to rile up the trolls enough. Was the thought when Yanasia was sort of that like, well, I guess we can all go back there sort of thing. So that, I think, was sort of where those 2 things started to diverge, was that there was sort of this necessity to return there. The question is, what exactly is going to be the absolute purpose of that? Like, are you just going to go there and leer at the trolls and say, you can't catch us, and flee off through the woods? Or is there, I think Inel's suggesting, more of a trap laying kind of recon, maybe even doing a little bit of destabilization and agitation before setting the trap? There's a couple of things that are, kind of discussing in that. And I might be wrong about that, but I think that's sort of where this started splitting off.
That's mostly my plan is to disrupt them and make their defenses weaker, so some of our forces can help us take the camp.
Well, okay, that makes sense, but I think for me what I'm hung up on is, since we have no idea the numbers in the upper camp, if we really start messing with these guys to draw them out, if they've got portals, how do we know they're not going to just, come at us with stronger? I feel like we should at least gather some information about that other camp before we start laying traps.
I think that one's at least assumed to be bigger than the one we
seems like a good idea.
We need to figure out how many trolls we're up against first. And then you want to draw the trolls out. Us right here in this group could sneak into that camp and surgically take out each of these trolls one by one. That would draw their attention and draw them, and we could take over the camp. I think we could do that.
And I think
pass without a trace. We can fly. We can just sneak in there and slit their throats behind their back. They'd never even see us one by one.
I don't think that's easy, but that's mostly my plan, is to make this camp become our distraction. If we go there to the main camp and get found out, everything's gonna be on us. So maybe just using this camp and destroying it will draw the attention of the other trolls, and with this position now we would be in an advantage.
But then we're dealing with them blind.
Yeah, I'm still not understanding. I might have missed. I'm just not understanding. I guess the purpose of doing a trap or a mission at at this camp again instead of the assumed larger one we know about.
Because I don't think
I think
we
the
can...
idea there was the fact that the larger one would be harder to bait into attacking a caravan, as the smaller one is obviously like nearer to the roads and also nearer to the village. I think the idea was that trying to march on or otherwise interact with that bigger camp without taking out this smaller camp posed the threat of counterattack. So I think the idea was as taking out this camp allows the townsfolk to not have to worry about when they march 150 strong north to the other one, that this one isn't just going to punch them right when they're defenseless. And I like, based on the way that the meeting went, I think the idea was then that like this smaller camp was going to be basically like a tangible victory against the troll numbers if you could, extract it and ambush them, and theoretically lose like no soldiers in this caravan ambush, and then having dealt a blow decisively of several dozen troll losses in one day, then the way that I had, this is just based on the conversation, it seemed like the general plan was make this ambush happen in the course of a day or two, and then immediately march north once you've basically knocked out, one of the legs that they're standing on. And then even if you do advertise your numbers and things do get complicated and it does turn into more of a siege at the other location, you've already sort of backed them into a corner. I mean, you do...
Okay.
I'm not trying to talk over the group. I just like, this is from my position, what I'm seeing evolve.
That's what I'm trying to explain, but my English is garbage right now.
No worries,
Sorry,
no worries.
Sorry,
I think
guys.
also like with all of the different mining corporations having their different plans and everybody in the party having different plans, there's a fair amount of confusion to go around. What were you gonna say though, Ulta? And then I also heard you, Kayloon.
I was just gonna say that makes more sense to me. I appreciate you explaining that, because I was having a hard time. Sorry about that.
No, it's not your fault. The group is obviously here, sorting through the information that they have. And I'm just giving opinions, not even based on like, this is what you should do. This is what it seemed to me that the group was kind of pushing towards. So right now, what I think is the discussion is like, what is the manner of dealing this decisive blow? It seemed like you were going to create a lure to this caravan, but like Yanisea was saying, like that's going to involve like, even if just kind of showing up and like stinging this camp a little bit, or like planting some sort of rumor, or I mean, you had used the idea of like basically them chasing her through the woods or something, but like the point is that you're gonna have to create the knowledge of this caravan that is vital, that's going to pull out the troll raid, because like they were saying in the office, the trolls for their raids have only been sending out 2 or 3 or 4 trolls. So that ambush doesn't really have a lot of meat on the bones unless you can like whip up some sort of frenzy here, or convince them that there's really something that they have to have, and they, that there's going to be heavy guard on it, that sort of thing. So I think that the issue here is both, it's kind of double fold, which is why the confusion's happening, because on one hand, you're trying to weaken this base and also get rid of it, but at the same time, if you end up like provoking it too much, or this lure plan doesn't go off the right way, kind of like what Gail's talking about, you guys might, and Ellard's talking about, you might find yourselves like at war with this base. So does it behoove you, and this is the question, like what level of interaction do you have with this? Are you gonna, play Rambo and try and take out some of the trolls and get them to chase you? Are you just gonna try and like whip them all up into a ball so that they're easy to fight at? Like, there's a lot of options here.
I have a
Okay. Now that that's clarified, I was gonna say, Kayloon, I had heard you try and speak before. I want to make sure you get your. What were you gonna say?
So, you guys have been in the camp.
Twice
right?
for me.
I have not.
Inel's been in the camp once. All right, he's been there twice.
But I'm assuming you were not there socially.
No.
Did you? No, you. Because what the main thing that we're talking about, I'm thinking only about the scouting trip tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because we're still 2 days and a scouting trip away from the 2 days from now punch to the nose we want to give to the trolls.
Yes.
We need to decide what we want to scout
I
and what
want
we
to-
want to do with that scouting.
I want to scout the area around the camp to find a way to find a route that can lead to the road easily for the Fae, so they can run and ambush the trolls. And with what we have, we could, while this is happening, using Gale's Fly, that race, and dropping our holy bomb that we have on some of the stragglers or some that are behind, or a group of trolls that can. So now we can kill more of them, and after that we just go back to the caravan and help finish those trolls.
I think we might want to save. We only have one vial of this stuff. I think that might be better saved for the main assault.
I think we should split our 150 troops into 3 sections. Take the best third with us to the camp. Set a decoy out front. The rest of us hide and in the woods and flank behind the camp. When they create a ruckus, the caravan, the trolls come out to raid it. We'll attack the camp from behind the other side. The caravan will spring up and actually be warriors. We should be able to take these trolls out, and then the rest of the second group can march after and meet us at this camp as we fortify it, and we march on to the next camp. The other third should stay at home to protect them in case they get flanked. What do you think?
The goal is to kill all the trolls at this first camp?
Yep. So now when we attack the main one, they don't pincer us because there'll be no troll
I
there.
think we can surprise attack them.
I think we should do that.
Okay, how many troops?
Know how many trolls are at the big camp before we do that, and how far is it?
2 dozens in the 2 dozens.
He was saying the big camp to the north.
Yeah, we
But
have no
we
idea.
have no idea.
But he's saying that's what
That's
that's his point.
Should
We don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was I was thinking the same thing earlier because we have
Yeah.
literally no idea what we're up against with that one.
So maybe
I don't think it matters because winter is coming. We're gonna have to take these trolls out.
I mean, maybe we could use their scout to scout the big camp, go back to the small camp, and hopefully not get seen by the trolls.
You can always split the party up.
I like Gail's.
Yeah,
I really do like Gail's plan about
yeah,
having the caravan be a full-on trap. Like there's an empty pile of money in chests in a caravan. We get a few of the trolls out, and then we start picking the trolls off in the village with a
Full on
select.
tall, blonde, and heels with the hood up and shorty shorts, the whole thing. Drawn
Yeah.
out.
How
And
many?
you-
But we need to know how quickly and how many reinforcements might come from that second camp.
That second camp,
because
it's worth
maybe
noting,
reinforcements-
is like days of travel away.
So we're good.
So like,
The question would be at that point. I mean, your companion Ulta did raise the issue of whether or not they have their portal up and working. It didn't seem like it was operational last your scouts were in there, but as Rydell would tell you, there was presence of magic underway. It's hard to tell. That was not something that you were able to conclusively decide.
So we don't have much
This
time.
part of this raid should include an attack on that and destroy that portal for sure.
And
Yeah.
so, how many troops do you think we should bring? Because realistically, I think if the goal is to take out all the trolls at this first camp, realistically it could be upwards of 20 trolls we're fighting, and we've had party wipes fighting 5.
Well, we didn't have a party wipe. We have 3
Oh,
deaths.
no.
I mean,
You
I
would
like
not have
that.
one that fight.
all those that didn't have a rope trick.
Yeah. You
no,
know.
someone. Hey, sorry.
If we bring a third of our people, we'll have them outnumbered about 2 to 1.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think
Well-
30 soldiers should be enough with us.
Well, can I ask you guys a question too? Then isn't the only way to kill them permanently with the radiant?
The thing is, you can use the radiant before hurting them, if I remember correctly.
This is true. You can also use it, as a finisher, as the trolls can be put down. The issue is just that their regeneration is so, active that if there isn't overwhelming damage being done to them, basically, representing that they're being hacked apart actively to prevent them from growing back together, then they can regenerate. So, you could use it before or after. The question really just becomes like administering it in like the most effective way, so you don't like accidentally lose your first line, or or you don't get a second wave attack when all the trolls stand back up and are halfway through the middle of your flanks, kind of thing.
Do we know
But
if
how much of it do we have? Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. Right now, as Rydell pointed out, you've got the one flask of holy water, and you've got the other, like, basically the super bright, almost like flare that was given to you by the cleric of Thothemi. But past that, like, the amount of radiant damage the party can output is really tied more to the cleric than it is to anything else at the moment.
I think we have like 4 or 5 like samples of holy water.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was incorrect.
Do we know, does radiant damage prevent regeneration? And do we know
Absolutely.
like how?
Yeah,
Is that like for a round or forever?
No, forever.
Not necessarily forever, but it seems to be a substantial amount of time. You've yet to see it run out yet, but you haven't been in an extended battle with these things. It's all of your skirmishes have only been for minutes.
And
Okay.
I think that the plan of flying there and putting them in and putting them in at the same place at the same time and dropping the holy bomb is our best bet to have the most of them that are.
It's
that are
worth remembering that a flask of holy water by the rules is only about a 5-foot square.
I'm talking about the other one.
Yes, the much larger one. Yeah, that.
Yeah, the one that I'm basically sure is a fireball, a radiant fireball, for what she told us.
I still think, I don't know if it's the best idea to use it at this primary camp instead of dropping on the leader or the main camp, because we only have one.
Yeah, maybe, but
Yeah, especially because that leader's supposed to not be quite like these other trolls.
yeah, maybe you're right.
The one troll that we did kill, the reason it did not regenerate probably is because we took its head, and we took its head with us.
And radiant damage.
Yeah, you had, thanks to Ahriman, rest in power, Ahriman was able to take the regenerative properties away from that troll, and then everybody else was just piled damage on it in this like course of a round and killed it.
So it still had radiant damage.
Yeah, so it had been, it had its regenerative abilities neutralized for the time being. And that's what I mean by like the radiant damage that went into killing it obviously was able to do the trick, but the issue is how long does it suppress their regenerative capabilities in terms of like you might be able to down them effectively, but if you are not able to down them with radiant, then what happens? Those are just a little bit of some of the unknowns here.
I may
So am I the only one? Does anyone else have any radiant damage besides me?
nope.
I have nothing.
So you guys should definitely have all of the holy water samples. We can see if we can get any more, and then just depending on how the combat turns out. I can hit one person at a time with radiant damage, but if we're outnumbering them and we're doing well, I can definitely put them down.
Yeah, I think if you get 30 soldiers and maybe use some holy waters on their weapon and on our weapon too, it should help, because it's like poison to them. So we just find a way to make the water stick to our blades.
That is an unexplored option so far. There might be some way to, and I mean by might be some way, there definitely is. It's just, you can do anything. It's just whether or not you'll be able to make it happen with your time and resources.
Is there a chemist among us? I wonder if we could take these vials that we have and try to replicate it or across the other vials. or something along those lines. I don't know if anybody has that kind of ability.
I mean, I don't think that our cleric can really do that because I don't know what goddess you pray to.
Far
Wink,
Sky?
wink,
Yeah.
wink. But yeah, I don't think you can do that, right?
No.
On the off chance there's some holy water in the box, can I open my mystery box?
Oh yeah, sure. You never got around to that.
We can talk to the blacksmith and see. I'm sure someone in town has experience applying poison or something to blades, and let's talk to someone and see if we can apply holy water the same way to us and the soldiers.
That's a good idea.
We have the cleric of Totemi, remember?
Yeah.
All right.
And
Opening up that mystery box, Alta, you are going to find that there is a potion inside of it, and it is labeled in. It looks to be Sylvan. Is that a language that you speak?
It is not. Does anyone else speak it?
Yes, I can.
And I show it to an elf?
Certainly. All right. Checking on the contents of that potion, theoretically, in the Sylvan, you are going to see that it looks like this is a potion of clairvoyance.
It's really good whiskey. No, I'm kidding. It's a potion of clairvoyance.
Okay.
Nice, just what we need.
So yeah, do you think we should go see the cleric now before going to sleep?
Maybe either the blacksmith or the cleric, maybe both.
Yeah.
And have we set our plan for the scouting trip tomorrow?
Yeah.
I know we've got a good idea for the attack 2 days from now, but what are we actually scouting?
We're scouting for a route. I think a route to and a place to make the trap.
Well, since you're the only one that's been there before, if you at some point do need to use this so you can see what's in the camp, then I'll give you this potion.
Yeah.
Rydell is actually the one who's been the furthest into the camp at this point.
Oh, I could give it to him too then.
So we're scouting the first camp to make a plan to attack it, and then attacking it, and then marching on the second one.
Yeah.
That is the general order of operations.
Great.
The question
I'm just going to do whatever they say.
The question is just what it comes down to is I think the only thing that hasn't been 100% sorted out, and I mean you can just improvise this likely, is just how you're going to go about like piquing the trolls' interest or triggering them directly in a way that doesn't just result in 2 or 3 or 4 of their number being sent out, but like an actual sizable force that you can then ambush effectively. So that is the only thing that has yet to emerge. However, I mean, again, feel free to take your time on that. But everything else seems to be fairly airtight as far as what the general consensus is. You'll be heading out tomorrow. If you wanted to find a blacksmith this evening, you'd probably be out of luck, as I mean it's getting closer to about 9 in real. It's actually a bit later than that in game time. Much like the cleric who lives south of town, it would take a couple 8 hours to go and visit her. So if you would like to be wandering around the streets in the middle of the night, you're more than welcome to. But
Let's sleep and go there tomorrow in the morning, right before going to the camp.
okay, is there anything else that anyone would like to anything else that anyone would like to accomplish in this time? I mean, the town isn't shut down by any means. Just a lot of the more staple businesses have sort of wound down for the day.
Oh.
Do we know? So for tomorrow, just the party is scouting, correct?
Yeah.
It seems to be that was the intention. I don't know if there was talk of troops coming later, but I don't know if that's what the timeline established on that.
We're gonna talk to tomorrow we talk to the clerk of Tatami, the blacksmith, and the soldiers, and we go alone to the camp to make our scouting mission, and they come later. We explain our plan. We make the plan.
Do you think
Wait.
it's even worth it to scout? I mean, we know.
Oh, my Discord just crashed. Oh, my Discord just crashed. Sorry, folks. One moment. Where did the players go? No.
Last 10 minutes, you could see kind of what's going on without us actually going over there.
What does that
Yeah.
do?
Here, I'll
Find the
send it
perfect
to you.
place. Find the perfect place. We need to find the perfect place to do the trap.
Yeah,
We
I said
also
we
have-
won't be able to. Like, there's different like kind of patrols. We won't be able to kind of predict how the patrols are going to be working.
The trap goes on the
True
road
enough.
closest to the camp. Everyone else sneaks into the woods behind the camp.
Yeah.
I'm not sneaky, so put me on the caravan or something.
Yeah, and also you could make it. You could make a portal after that to bring us back.
People,
I'd be able. So I don't know if we have enough time to scout and then take the camp.
So you just want to take the camp right now?
I mean, I think
we don't need to
Yeah.
scout. Surprise them.
we won't be able to kind of plan around the patrols. I think we just kind of make our best plan, have the caravan, and take it tomorrow. I'll be able to. I have a plan for how to lure them out. I'll be able to speak their tongue and can hopefully make them aware of the caravan.
All right,
Okay.
So, but why would they care about the caravan?
because
This
they're
is-
raiders. That's the thing.
Right, but they're only going to send.
Editor's note. Also had a small crash here at the beginning of this break. I've edited around it where cumbersome, but for the rest of the episode, it seems to have held steady, and soon these computer problems should plague me no more. Thank you. Hello. If you're watching this, chances are you're not joining us live on Sundays or Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time when you could be a part of the action as a contestant or a fan or a newcomer who has no idea what's going on but wants someone desperately to explain to them the stakes at hand. Well, I'll tell you this, there are real cash prizes and precious stones to be won, and now there are weekly giveaways that affect the entire stream. You don't even have to be a contestant to potentially win a set of dice or something else from us here at the Guild of Mazes. So tune in to find out who's going to live or die every session, and potentially walk away with some booty of your own. and we are back once again live. I think that one of our players is having a small bit of technical difficulty, as well as I was, so, I mean, obviously I can't judge them there. We are hopefully set up and good to go. I think I found the root of the problems that have been happening, but we'll have to see, obviously. Our contestant is restarting their computer and reconnecting to Discord. They were working fine up until a moment ago, so I have all the faith in the worlds that they will be able to return to us in maybe 5-10 minutes. In the meantime, we've still got 4 of our party members here who were discussing the battle plan that lay before them on the eve of what might be a full-blown raid, depending at the pace that the players decide to move, because the trolls in the nearby woods would likely land some sort of counterattack should they hesitate at all. They are, of course, in the common room at one of the primary inns here in Fog Iron Landing, and having now whiled away some time in the evening discussing strategy, we rejoined them. Second, everything seems to be working. I don't want to jinx this, but here we go. Players, please take it away and let us know as to what you've decided on in the break.
Rydell, do you want to explain it?
Am I explaining the...
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to disguise myself as a Malfay working with Thalatan and try and convince the troll camp that a caravan is coming the following day and that they need to come out and raid it.
So the plan is to convince Thalakan that you're one of their Malfay. Are you planning on using a specific spell or ability for that? Do you have a...
Convincing the troll camp that I'm a Malfay working with Falcon, and I can cast Disguise Self, Tongues, and Enhance Ability Charisma.
Okay, that's not a bad disguise at all. I was just curious what the convincing agent there was going to be, and I imagined being a cleric of the trickery domain, you are well suited for this sort of thing. Now, of course, what's the timetable of this accelerated event? Are you going to head out in the morning? Are you waiting for soldiers to gather? What's the plan here?
I think doing it in the morning, and then we'll have the day to kind of talk to soldiers and figure that out.
Okay. All right.
I'd like to use the Friendstone and ask Yanasia, just say, like, thank you for today, except, like, and all of that. And I want to confirm that who the trolls were using as messengers, either Malfay or Nixies.
And I'm going to check if we're being watched or something while we are in common room.
Okay.
Perception or investigation?
I would take a perception, please. Okay, it looks like my Discord's locking up, but it looks like Adam is back, which is excellent. But now Gale is gone, so we'll see what emerges here. All right, it looks like it's all working. Everything is working. Now with that perception, Inel, as you gaze around the room to see if anybody has gathered to watch, or is, perhaps craning their ear a little too closely to see if your table might be discussing something of particular interest, you actually find that there are quite a few people in this room. Most of the servers, a lot of the patrons of the common room itself, some obviously locals, judging by the polymorph scarring across their beings, as well as some of them likely from out of town, judging by the way that they have kind of the nondescript armor and countenance of likely guards with caravans or mining companies or something of the like. And all of them seem to have, for the most part, their attention trained on your group, whether whether or not it's overt and they're staring at you, or some of them are just, obviously waiting to speak in between bursts of each of you actually kind of vying for the floor amongst your table. There seems to be a great deal of attention.
I thought we went back to our room, sorry.
Oh, no.
Not yet.
I did too.
Not yet. We were in the common room discussing about.
yeah, I wouldn't have said all that if I knew we were there.
This is, one of those things where,
Yeah.
obviously, you're welcome to have said whatever you would have liked in private or in hushed tones, certainly. But even with, your without having had the entire conversation at bar level, which is wasn't what I was assuming. Your renown within this township has spread. And that's more of what I was getting at. It's pretty impossible for you to occupy really any space within this kind of densely packed area, which is at the height of its peak business. I mean, right now, it's about 9 o'clock, so travelers are winding down, the last stragglers are arriving, those who have gotten off work or finished in the fields are likely coming in to have a drink before heading home. This place is as busy as it gets, really. There's even a few people standing outside around the rain barrels, just rolling cigarettes, and it sounds like by the laughing and jeering going on, probably either telling some raucous stories or involved in a bit of dice. And the general vibe of this is, while all of it's friendly, seemingly on the surface, you're a pretty hard band to mistake at this point, and your actions are beginning to spread. You don't know if anyone from the mining companies, other than the Cloudforge, knows who you are or what's likely to happen, but you have to imagine that the rumor mill, given a couple hours in a small town, is going to start moving pretty quickly. And how much of what you've said in private to the different mining company heads, you can't really take for granted as being concealed from people around here, especially because you don't really have a lay of the land for who works for who.
I think we should go to sleep. Don't you think, guys?
Yeah, that's
And also, I have now a foolproof way to sleep.
A foolproof way to sleep. Inel, do tell.
When I'm gonna tell everyone to go into our common room, and I'm gonna start to ritually cast, so it doesn't cost me a spell slot, Leoman's tiny hut.
Do you think we're allowed to do that in the common room?
No, in our room, in our common room.
Got it.
Let me double check really quick on the dimensions of that hut, because I believe it's a 30-foot?
Let me check on my.
If we were sharing a room, I'm going into the other one.
If we were a 10-foot radius, so 20. Yeah, it's a 20-foot. And the spell can fit inside the dome with you. Cast the spell. Just. So, the only thing with this is that your hut is going to be bigger than the room itself.
The room is bigger than 20 feet.
Well, because the idea that it has with a 10-foot radius. These rooms are not particularly large. This inn is not particularly nice. Remember, you don't have some sort of like large central area. So it's poking out the sides is what I'm getting at here, which is going to draw a bit of attention. Also, what with yeah.
I don't, and I think I cannot cast it ritually anyway. So.
Oh yeah, that's also yeah.
Yeah, I don't think these rooms have 12-foot ceilings.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like 10-foot radius is
I start to try to cast it, and I think, it won't fit, so I don't cast it.
All right, though I do appreciate the general idea here.
I say, I cannot use it. It's too small in air. But now we can sleep in the wilderness.
And before sleeping, I would like to use the friendstone to contact Yanissia, just double checking on who Falcon has been using for messengers, either Malfay or Nixie.
Oh, in that case, she is going to be able to get back to you with the information that it seems that Thalakin has been using Nixies primarily, as they are the much smaller, much more sprightly and nimble and fast flying. They're, barely a step above a will-o'-the-wisp, essentially. Then, as far as like impersonating one of those, that would be, rather rough for a medium-sized creature, as they are, very, very small.
I can make myself a foot smaller, so I could be around 4 feet.
Nixies are generally, you're looking at about 1.5 to 2 feet at the tallest.
Tinkerbell.
Yeah, evil Tinkerbell.
So yeah, let's do the scrag instead. Maybe it will work.
Though that isn't to say that there aren't other creatures that you could impersonate.
And I'm going to ask, is there anything that would be convincing within a foot of me?
How about a little troll, like a scrag?
Either a scrag, or perhaps one thing that might catch them a bit off guard, but would be a risk and an advantage, is you could always pose as an emissary from the orcs or the goblins to the east. Sorry, west.
Okay. I'll thank her.
Right. With that accomplished, is there anything else that the party wants to do?
I'm gonna go to Alta. She should let me chat a bit with her. I'm gonna go see her. Say, Alta, do you mind if
me?
Do you mind if I speak with you for a bit, or do you prefer your time alone?
No, we can talk. Let me also just grabs a glass of wine and sits down. And
All right. So, I wanted to know something. How do you, it's weird to say that, but how do you feel right now? With you've been zanked in a pretty heavy situation, so I wanted to know if you were okay.
I'm good. I've been around a little while now. The other guy might not be feeling so good, but I'm feeling pretty decent.
All right, because I was also wanted to this morning before the old chat was something for me. So I just wanted to know if I know I'm not the chief of this group, but I'm the senior member technically because I've been here the longest. And honestly, I just want to know if my guild members are doing fine.
Absolutely. Is there a problem?
No, just that I'm sick of losing people. So I prefer to know them now, and maybe knowing who I'm working with, I think I won't hide as much for my own survival. Good night.
Sleep well.
You too.
I'm going to ask Yanissia one more question. If I was able to become small in size and then minus a foot, do you think that would pass as a Nixie?
Small in size and then minus a foot. Yes, you could pass as a Nixie in that situation.
All right, new plan.
It's back on.
So we're rolling an encounter check, right?
So Inel, if you can reduce me, and then Gale, if you can cast Fly on me, that's a Nixie right there.
Oh my god, yeah.
That's fantastic.
That's Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, yeah.
So with that, Inel is not incorrect, and not to rush everyone, but you do face the issue of the looming encounter check for the eve. Is there anything else that you'd like to do before you bed down for the night?
I'm gonna lock the door.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, and also, we have 2 rooms or 1 room?
2 rooms.
All right.
We'll lock the
So-
door too then.
Yeah, since I'm sharing the room with.
Where does the new guy sleep? Where do I get to sleep?
That's
I
your
think
that
the old
is
guy's
that
dead.
is sort of the new guy's issue. However, at the same time, there is a tab currently extended to the guild. So, Kayloon, where would you like to sleep?
I'm gonna sleep. Don't take your own room. That's a bad idea.
You can be with me and Gale.
Yeah, I'm gonna be with
I'm
you.
definitely going to sleep with party mates. No, I'm not going to take my own room.
Yeah,
Alright.
good idea. Good idea.
If Gale and the other invite me, I'm just going to say, yep, nope, I'll bunk with you guys.
And
I'm
Yeah.
gonna throw one of the pillows.
also, can I check if the door is still broken?
Wait, we have a broken door?
Not ours, but I mean,
Same
No, the
question.
other
Do
door
we have
is
a
no
broken
longer
door?
that's. I think Aritil or Fia broke a door when the gremlins were there.
Wait, surely we have new rooms by now.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
but
certainly. The
I
gremlins, they were days ago. Now, I do have to insist someone is going to have to make an encounter roll, and I feel like we all know who it is.
Kayloon.
The new one.
Yeah, I did it last time.
One of us. One of us.
It's
What
an
do you want me to
initiation.
roll?
Give me a D100, please, into the chat, and I will roll opposed, and we will see what transpires in the evening. Whether or not it will even affect them during the time of their rest, or it is something that might wait to befall them in the morning or the next day, they will have to only dread and anticipate what twist might come
Honestly,
their way
I-
during a critical moment of the oncoming mission.
Honestly, I'm hyped because 24
Critical is a dangerous word. Critical is a very dangerous word here.
All right, and no, we will see. We will see. What with a 24, the likelihood of there being a critical a success or failure is low, as I'd use my my opposing roll to determine the difference between our dice, and so without your rolling a 5 or less or a 95 or more, the odds of there being a critical are more or less impossible. However, with a 24, there is plenty of potential as I now flip through my book, and we shall see what exactly is going to happen here. I need to roll again on this subtable. All right. So, your night passes without interruption. There doesn't seem to be anything going on in the night here. The inn winds down as per usual, and the lot of you are able to find a restful sleep. Awakening in the morning to once more undertake the quest at hand. What exactly would you like to begin the day with, as there are, of course, many errands before the trolls' camp can be assaulted? The runner from the the Cloud Forge Ironworkers Guild is going to make contact in the morning and let you know that there is to be another meeting this afternoon between some of the company heads. However, at the same time, it sounds like this is not a mandatory thing, merely a second opportunity for you to either help strategize with them or likely for them to give you some update that has occurred over the course of the last eve. Now, with that, you have the full day. Are you still interested in trying to find that cleric or that blacksmith?
I say let's go to cleric of Totemi first. I mean, unless you want to go to blacksmith first and use our potion that we have right now.
I think. Go for it.
I'm sorry, just real quick. I would like to find out what the most common troll's name is. The most common troll name. And then I would like to use my moon ability to name that troll. Does that work?
Unfortunately, you have to. You could use Thalakin's name, because it has to be tied to a specific individual that you know. That's the issue with that item.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Sort of.
However, I mean, now that Thalakin has been named, obviously that is free game. But I don't think you want to encounter him over the course of this day. Now,
What your book do? Force an encounter.
So, party members, cleric, blacksmith.
Hotel.
I think both, right? Were we doing the cleric first?
Yeah, what I'm asking, cleric first or blacksmith first?
I think if the blacksmith can do it, then we don't need to bother the cleric again.
Yeah.
But we are gonna need to get holy water. from there.
Karun, I think you are not on push to talk.
I agree with Rydell. We should go to the blacksmith first.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
The blacksmith is going to be able to offer to convert your holy water into an oil that could be used to coat blades. You would be sacrificing your projectiles, basically, but you would have the ability to potentially coat multiple weapons, maybe up to dozens, depending on the results of their refinement of this and subsequent applications. It would not add much, but it would add enough that it would effectively give the damage radiant subtype, hopefully, and thus ignore the troll's regenerative properties.
I think that's perfect.
Yeah, I think that, and then I'll be there for projectiles.
How long would it last? As long as the oil was on there?
So, depending on the results of this, the blacksmith is going to say that the oil will be of different purities. The better the quality, the more it will cling to the blade. I'm not sure how soon do you need this?
Tomorrow.
With while I understand the importance, and I'm willing to put it forward in my schedule, because I understand, and you've helped my family. At the same time, it will definitely not be of the highest quality. It would maybe coat the blade for 3-4 swings at the most.
I think we should maybe make some quick one for the army and take some time with the other one. Do you think we should go? Now we have that information. Do you think we should go back to the cleric of Totemi?
Yeah, we get as much holy water as we can.
Well, yes, because we also have more trolls to contend with later. So if we get the quick one now, we can have him work on a stronger one for later.
Yeah, that's the plan. All right. So
Good idea.
the thing is, she wanted us to investigate a crypt. So I don't.
We can't do that right now.
Nope. So we need someone with eye convincing attributes and money.
I don't have any convincing attributes, but I have a little bit of money.
I don't have money and I don't have charismatic attribute.
We got
Yeah,
some
I have
money.
neither.
Gail, didn't she give you some gold? Didn't Ria give us some pocket gold? I think.
Yeah, we have like a little over 100.
I have like 35.
Yeah. So who has that gold? The
I
100
do.
that she gave us.
I have it.
I have 40.
I mean, maybe it's gonna be enough. and maybe we could go talk to Zepteria again and give our plans. So maybe we can get some pocket money now.
What are we
and-
gonna owe for the oil too?
Yeah,
The blacksmith will do it free of charge. As you may remember from last session, your
we saved his
friends
brother.
had done a favor by killing those ghouls. He had saved his brother.
That's
helps
still
a
very
lot.
generous.
My plan is talking to Zepteria, and tell her of the plan with the oil and the cleric of Totemi. So maybe we have some more pocket money to buy them, make oil, and and maybe the cleric doesn't even have a more potion ready. So that's a bit tricky.
Yeah, she said she can make it pretty fast, but I
Yeah,
don't
so
know.
the plan is go to the council, ask for more money, go to the cleric, get some more holy water, go to the blacksmith and get some oil. That's right.
Yep.
Waiting till midday to attend this council meeting, if that's the unanimous decision there.
I mean, we could ask the cleric to do some and come back with the money. Maybe
Well-
not.
How much does it cost? Because we have some on us.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think. I mean, I like just on me. I have like 120.
So last
Well,
time,
and then I have 35 and Gail has 40.
the
Yeah,
thing
you
is,
should-
last time it cost us one of our bar of iron. I mean, I still have one of those, but let's see first, all right?
Yeah.
Let's
Okay.
go to cleric of Totemi.
All right.
Nice.
Heading south to the outskirts of town, you will find. So you will find that her dwelling is in a state of ruin.
Uh-oh.
It seems that the sort of naturally overgrown exterior that had a rather kind of eccentric garden in the front, growing over the stone walls of her humble abode, has been trampled, and there is signs of likely some sort of greater struggle, as nearby small sapling trees have been cracked in places and in others just pushed over entirely, as if trampled by some much larger creature.
We need to find
The
her.
door is...
How far away are we when we notice this?
You are about... who's got the highest passive perception, and what is it?
Mine's
30.
14.
Yeah, 13.
14?
Mine's 11.
All right, then that means you will be approximately about 150 feet away when you notice that there's something definitely wrong. It'll take about 100 feet before everyone is like very aware of the kind of more specifics of what I was just describing. It's too far away to see into the house, as the windows are pretty dimly colored, like there's not a lot of translucency. Is there an approach now that you would like to take?
Is anyone else here stealthy?
No, but I have
I
an
can-
idea.
I can make it.
What was her name? She give it to me, but I can I roll an intelligence check to remember her name?
Sure.
Can I check around to see if there's still anybody in the vicinity?
Go ahead and give me an investigate.
Sorry, I didn't want to roll with disadvantage. It was the first roll.
Oh yeah. So that that investigation is going to yield several immediate results, which seem to be that you can clearly tell by branching off of the main path that you are on that there is another larger path somewhat adjoining it that was created by the recent traffic of likely several large creatures walking just maybe 10, 15 feet off of this main footpath. I mean, trying to stay out of sight, likely. And with that, you will also yield the clues that this is probably a recent occurrence, judging by the just scene that you find in this path beaten through the adjoining underbrush. Ulta, it seems that these creatures have been by recently. And then as far as your intelligence check, yes, Inel, you will be able to remember her name for the second time.
I wrote it, but it's not in my notes for some reason. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. Now, with that, what's the plan here? I ask because you've got a limited amount of time.
I'm gonna my plan is to get. Go ahead.
I'm gonna cast Pass Without Trace and use Blessing of the Trickster on Ulta to balance out her disadvantage on stealth.
Okay, got it.
Plan is, Gail, I have her name. Can your book trace her or something?
Well, I can't track her. I just gives me advantage if I see her.
Damn it, that's. All right. So we need to follow the tracks.
Do we
How
want
does
to
a
go?
potion of clairvoyance work?
Armor on myself.
It has to be a place you've seen before.
Not someone.
No.
Have mage armor also.
Do we want to look at the house before following down the trail?
Ulta did.
No,
I mean-
I was looking around the house.
Yeah,
That's how I
no.
found the
At
trail.
this point, you have yet to advance or investigate the actual interior at all. This is just from.
I'd like
your
to go
distance
investigate the
away.
interior.
Okay.
I'll say to everyone, stay within 30 feet of me for Pass Without Trace, and then we'll start
Yeah,
going towards the house.
Yeah, we will.
All right.
Um,
Yeah.
if they're going inside, since seems to be a group of them, I'd like to take my axe out and I'll watch the door in case anything's coming at them while they're investigating.
Okay.
I'll stay at the door with her.
I'll investigate. I have +7.
All right. Go ahead and roll for your investigate.
Unless someone wants to give me advantage, maybe, so you could help.
I'll help you and try and give you advantage.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can only concentrate on Pass Without Trace.
I don't think I ate.
Unfortunately, that 8 is not going to be enough to grant the
Alright.
advantage that you're looking for. However, go ahead and roll.
Are you kidding?
Ooh. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. So, Inel, as you begin investigating the interior of this cleric's abode, you are going to come across a number of basically in progress projects or of some kind, both like the drawing and curing of different plants, as well as what seems to be things that are actively dripping from containers into others as they are distilled or filtered through various small devices and like different glass beakers and clay pots. It seems that this cleric of Thothemi, an avid sort of herbalist and gardener, had many various kind of projects going on here. A lot of it is still in the state that you would imagine someone would have to kind of actively be watching over it for it to go well, judging by the complexity of some of this. And in that process, you are going to accidentally come across something that you shouldn't have. Go ahead and give me a Constitution saving throw.
Oh, all right. Only a check, sorry. It will be the same, actually.
I was going to say, do you have that as a proficiency? So that is going to be a failure. And Inel, as you are rummaging through these things, you're going to accidentally kick up this cloud of dust that at first you think nothing of walking through the rest of kind of this musty abode. But then as the skin of your body begins to burn, you're going to realize that this was perhaps not just a dust cloud, but perhaps some sort of poison or terrible pollen that was not meant to be disturbed. And you are going to watch as your body begins to break out in boils, and immediately you are going to take a total of, it's going to be 6 points of damage. And then on top of that, you will find that you are now feeling nauseated, and you are having trouble focusing on even basic tasks. Everything, for the most part, that you do at this point is going to be with a state of disadvantage.
All right, I'm gonna say, get out, guys, get out, and I go to the door.
Okay.
That's good advice. I take it and I get out.
Me too.
Fortunately, it seems like in their stumbling into that, they will have prevented the companions from having to otherwise see which one of you might have accidentally run afoul of it. And getting out of the house, you're going to see as the dust cloud in the interior is going to continue to kind of swirl around with almost this like haunting, malicious quality to it, as if there's sort of this clinging viscosity to it, like it's seeking out things or places with which it might once again land and then get stirred up again in the future.
I'll close the door behind us.
All right. In this time, it takes maybe a minute or so. You are not going to see anything staring out into the woods, both Gale and Ulta. It doesn't seem like there are any enemies lurking about. With your perceptions being what they are, you're going to only really hear and see the trail through which the assailants came and then likely left, and the site of the battle here in the front yard. Whatever happened, judging by the amount of earth that's been moved and some portions of stone that seem as if magical in origin, likely summoned, the cleric here put up a mighty struggle. What would you like to do at this point, now that you're all kind of standing here in this area?
Being a little frustrated with them stumbling into their poison dust, I would like to make my own investigation check, and I'd like to do it with advantage based on my lunar sign.
Okay, you are more than welcome to. So you're heading into the building?
I guess I don't know that I want to go in there again, but
okay, so you're staying outside of the house.
Right, okay, you help me, please.
So with that, go ahead and use your Zodiac ability to make an investigation check at advantage. Not bad. That 14 investigation is going to yield basically similar results to what Ulta had been able to find in the approach to this dwelling, in that the path that the assailants took in, it looks you are almost able to 100% confirm that they took out. And so if you are to find wherever the body of, or perhaps the still live captive of this cleric of Thothemi is going to be down that path. It, for the record, I'm going to kind of move the screen down. If you are all south of town, let me grab your tokens and slide them down. You're essentially about here, and the path seems to lead off basically... Oh, that is the wrong... There we go. The path basically seems to lead off in this direction. Deeper into the woods for sure, but it does lead basically in the exact opposite direction of where the party needs to be for the day. which raises the questions as you guys sort of consider the time. Do you go back to town and catch the meeting, or do you pursue this immediate scene of what looks to be a kidnapping? Or, there is a greater schedule at work here now. How much is the life of this cleric worth?
Well, it's worth the death of the troll, so let's go. Sorry, guys. I'm ready.
Alta would like to go after the cleric.
Same. First, right? Do I think that this thing will end quickly, or like it's in my blood for the next 24 hours?
You have no idea at this point. You think likely the way that your skin has become irritated, this could persist for some time until you can basically get some sort of like anti-venom or or antigen would be the correct word, to somehow neutralize this. You have a hard time imagining it's going to go away on its own right now.
All right, guys. I need protection, but I still got some spell I will use if we get into combat. If and when we get to combat. So
we all have Pass Without a Trace on right now, right?
Yep.
This is still active, yes.
Have we been able to determine like how far ahead of us they are? How long it's been?
You know that it's recent. Your investigation checks were not good enough to get an exact timeline, but you're looking at hours here. Like, this happened today, and it's in the morning. So whether or not this was, before dawn or right around there, I mean, it couldn't have been too long ago. You're probably hours behind these people on foot, but also, who knows how long they might have had to surveil or that combat might have taken. So there's a lot of variables still present.
Well, let's go. We don't have time to waste.
Where the combat was, is there a lot of blood on the ground?
With your investigation checks, you've noted that there is not a lot of blood on the ground. Barely any, in fact. While there's plenty signs of disturbance and damage, there doesn't seem to be, there's no body parts or really enough blood to have killed anyone, assailants or victim.
So they probably took her.
So they're probably still alive. I'm going to ready a spell. If we need to roll for initiative, right before I do that, I'm going to cast Fly on myself.
Noted. Depending upon the situation, obviously that things can still catch you unawares, but I noted.
I'm going to say to the party, we don't have much time for diversions, yet this cleric is of great importance to us. I don't know if we can spend more than a couple hours on this, as we also need to go to the troll camp today.
Right, El? If she's gone, there's no more raid. We don't have enough radiant. She's not valuable. She's the freaking key.
And we have time, because we don't have to lead an army out until tomorrow.
Yeah, yes, that's what I think we should go with haste. We have an hour for the Pass Without Trace, so we can move stealthily along this path.
All right.
I can.
Go ahead, and whoever is going to give me survival checks as you attempt to track at great speed through the wilderness these assailants. That's a 13 from Ulta. Is anyone else? 21 from Gale. Not bad.
Oh, sorry. Not supposed to be at advantage for that.
Noted. So with that 21, you will find that you are able to make great speed as these creatures, whatever they were, judging by the footprints, you believe are likely trolls, as they have the size and general stride of them. Now, this is going to bring you, however, to a dilemma, because with that 21 survival, you will move fast enough to surely gain on their tail, but at some point, the tracks are going to split in two. And because whoever it is that is likely carrying the subdued cleric is not allowing their feet to touch the ground, you have a problem with which way to go. There is one pair of tracks that has two sets, likely both trolls, and then there is another pair of tracks that is only one set, also likely troll. Which one the cleric is with now is a matter of some debate.
Do either sets of tracks head towards a known camp location?
Both of the sets of tracks, one moment, head in generally a western direction. The difference is the set of single tracks heads almost parallel with the forest line, while the set of double tracks heads definitely more southwest.
Gail, can you check if one of them looks heavier? Like, can you check if one of them is?
Yeah. So I'm going to examine the tracks and see which one. What are we looking for? Which one's easier?
I'm thinking that they might be trying to trick us with thinking that, oh, she must be with the two because one's carrying her, but I'm thinking it's the single one.
That's where I want to check which track is the heaviest. Which one left?
Deeper track.
With the deeper track in the ground.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and attempt that.
Gail, please do it. I'm sick right now.
Is that a survival?
It is a survival.
I'll help.
Survival.
Mm-hmm.
I have a +3, so I can help.
Oh yeah, you helped it.
All right.
It's the
Unfortunately,
return of the 11.
that is not going to be enough to aid, and that survival is while you have a great bead on the both sets of tracks, and you don't feel like either one is going to be able to lose you, you're still stuck with this decision. There is still no indicator as to which one is likely to contain the abductor of this cleric.
I'd vote for the one.
Me too.
Should we split up? Don't split
No,
up.
we don't.
No.
Oh, I think they're trying to make us split up. I think someone knows what we're doing and took our cleric.
Yeah.
Let's go for the single one.
I have an idea.
Fly.
I can fly. I can follow the one undetected, probably because I can fly above the tree line. Find out who it is. If it is our cleric, I can use Thunderstep and bring that cleric back.
Yeah.
Try it.
We'll
Bit of
go.
a gamble, but if that's what we need, I bet I could.
It's worth a shot. That's a
And
good.
while we're doing that, we're gonna follow the two tracks, and if it's wrong, we just go your way.
Yeah, and you guys with Pass Without a Trace should be able to follow the two tracks, and then if one of us is we're gonna discover something.
Do we have any way of communicating with each other?
I think Thunderstep is a good enough indication that Gail found something.
Step, you'll hear it.
Yeah.
Gail, take my slip first. Sorry, it's gonna help you with being stealthy if you want.
Not if he's flying.
Oh, yeah, right. I just put them back on. Let's go. Got speed,
That's a good
Gail.
plan.
Got a speed, Gail.
Okay, so I lose my pass. You guys all still have it, but I'm flying above the tree line as stealthy as possible. I'm going to follow this single track. I'll meet up with you guys soon, I guess.
I can switch. I can put my Blessing of the Trickster on Gale. Also, you'd be at disadvantage because you're heavy armor, but you would still have the +10. So I'll let you make that choice.
Yeah, give it to him since he's alone.
All right, you got it. So then that's advantage to stealth.
Advantage to stealth. Okay.
Let's
Okay,
do
I'm
it.
17 AC. I can fly. I got my thunder step ready,
That's good.
and I got advantage on stealth. I think I'm ready. You guys good?
Yeah, let's do
We're
it.
good.
All right, so Gale casting Fly on yourself, you are going to head off in the direction of the single set of tracks, which seems to lead kind of parallel to the forest line, while your companions head off after the double set. That is going to. I'm going to ask for a survival check out of the of 4 who are headed down to the southwest now, as they attempt to track that as well. Gale, I will take a perception check from you because you'll be actively kind of cruising over the forest line looking for these trolls or troll.
Do you need a stealth check from us?
Only if you want to make them, because you lacking the rogue abilities or the ranger abilities to track and move stealthily at full speed, stealth checks will slow you down.
Don't.
You said survival, right?
Perception for you, Gale, because you're not tracking, you're spotting at this point because you're up in the trees.
Yeah!
Nicely
Girl!
done. So, 15 is the total for the survival there. So the party is going to set off after the southwest pair, and Gale, you are going to, with your 21 perception, be able to fly at a great speed and also spot at a good distance that it looks like the single troll does not have a captive with them. There is no sack slung over their shoulder. There's no one being hoisted around behind them on rope. You do not see anyone with this troll, and you feel confident that likely there is no place that they could have stashed a body along the way that you would have not also noticed. More or less eliminating them as a possibility for where the cleric is. Meanwhile, the party will have not fully caught up to the other troll that they are tracking in the time that it takes Gale to find and discover that. But Gale, you will now have the issue of the fact that you are going to either have to kind of triangulate and sort of guess where the party likely is and try and spot them, or backtrack, and that'll take a little bit more time. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think I can fly above the tree line, head over to as soon as I figure out that there's nothing to see here, I'm going to go and find them. And I think I can fly above the tree line and find them quicker.
Okay. Sure. So go ahead and I'll take a perception check from you, and then depending upon that, that'll sort of determine how long it is or isn't going to take you to spot your party members or maybe even the trolls. All right. With a 13, you are going to be able to find the party, but you are not going to be able to find them before they run into the trolls themselves, making gains on the great creatures rather rapidly. Soon you'll be able to hear them in the distance, speaking to the other 4 now, grunting and kind of heaving as they push underbrush and low-lying trees and small rocks out of their way, and their bounding strides are enough to, all but kind of make the earth around them quake just a little bit, with the 2 of them sort of in a dead sprint next to each other. You are going to hear them before you see them, and the freshness of all of the destruction left in their path in the forest is going to be more than enough to, have an even idea of where they are, like straight ahead, likely just on the other side of some trees. With that, Gale, you are still going to be incoming by a few rounds, not quite there yet, as you're flying south now, scanning the treetops, trying to find some sign of your companions, which then leads me to the 4 of you. What are you going to do in this situation? These trolls are large and can move rather quickly over land, so unless you're in a dead sprint, you can't really catch them in a dead sprint, which means that you're gonna have something is gonna have to be figured out here, lest your attempts to attack them just see them sprint further off into the woods away from you. What's the goal here? Are you sneaking? What's happening?
I'm
You said
still
that
sick.
they're sprinting.
Yeah, they're sprinting.
For sure. Am I still sick right now? Or
At this point, Inel, yes, you are still sick. You're like sort of sweating profusely. You've got the cold shakes. It feels as if your skin is super sensitive, mostly because it is, having had that like agitating dust spread across it. So
we don't have. I'm gonna say to my compatriot, we don't have time to circle them. We need to get them now.
Gale can't be far behind. Maybe we want to keep up pace with them at a distance and see if he can swoop in and get her.
How far away are they?
At this point, you're gonna wager somewhere between 200 to 300 feet. The denseness of the trees and the fog this deep into the forest prevent you from exactly being able to tell, but you're kind of going based on freshness of tracks and the sounds you're hearing.
All right, I trust you, Rydell. Let's do this.
And even if we were sprinting, we wouldn't be able to get in range with them ourselves. So I think that's the only thing we can do.
I might be able to.
The rogue certainly can outmaneuver a troll.
But alone, are you sure?
You would be alone.
I mean, all I'm thinking about is running up behind them and trying to ping them with a short bow. It's a terrible plan. But if I can get them to slow down, that gives you guys a chance to catch up.
If you could distract them and we could try and sneak up and surprise them as we wait for Gale, that might be our best choice here. Okay, so
yeah,
we good with
let's
that?
do this. We can do this.
Right, so rogue sneak attack, and then we'll try and sneak up and surprise them, and then
okay.
Well, I think at this distance, I think my first turn has to be a double dash, because otherwise I'm shooting at disadvantage with the short bow at anything over 80 feet.
If you guys
And how far were they?
They're about 200 feet approximately. If you double dash, I would ask for you to then make basically a perception check to see if you can spot them moving through the tree line. And then at that point, based on the perception check, we'll sort of determine what your options are from a range and also get you a better idea of exactly how many feet away they are. At this point, they could be closer than you think, which is why I gave you that 100 to 200, that like kind of 200 to 300 range. Like, it could be a lot of things. Do you want to go ahead and advance and see if you can perhaps skewer one of these at a distance and get them to turn around?
You guys stay hidden and close the distance by about half, so you're about 100 yards away from them, so you can see them, but they don't see you guys yet.
Yeah, that's the plan.
If they're at a full sprint, can we do that?
If they are at a full sprint, unfortunately, remaining hidden is not going to really be an option while trying to catch up to them. You guys are also going to be huffing and puffing and sprinting through the underbrush. There's no real way for anyone except maybe the rogue to pull that off, and even then, that's kind of a tall ask.
Again, could we run and then, like, if he's able to stop them, can we then try and hide and sneak up?
I mean, yeah, at that point, it just basically would depend on how much time the rogue can buy.
Yeah. Okay. I guess that's all we got.
Okay. So, rogue, I'll
Let's do
say, if you're going to basically go all out and start Naruto running through the woods, it'll take you basically a 6-second full turn to catch up to them. And at that point, go ahead and give me a perception check, and we'll start talking about your ranged attack after that and where you are. I'm setting up the battle map right now so I can transfer everybody over.
I see a lot of trees.
You do see a lot of trees. You are going to be able to spot the trolls, but it seems that they are about 150 feet away from you at this point, which means, yes, if you fire with your bow, or your short bow, you will be at disadvantage.
Do you make a sign to say you can advance, or?
Yeah, I'm going to advance. I'm going to... I can't make 150 feet stealthy.
I'm sorry. Is everybody else on a battle map? Because I'm still on the main map.
No, everyone is not on a battle map yet.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought when he was moving the 150 feet, you could see.
Because you can try and get a little closer.
Okay, now I can see.
1 second. I'm going to get everybody centered. Oh, little zoomed in there for the stream. Let me back that out. Now, let me take a measurement. I'm still getting everybody's tokens adjusted. Oh, man, nailed it. Look at that. That was just a reflex. Exactly 150
Perfect.
feet. So the party is going to be a little bit behind the rogue, about there, given the fact that the rogue will have outmoved them by basically one full movement on that turn. And here we have it. Are you going to make your attack at disadvantage and see if you can at least get these trolls' attention, Kayloon?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll take a pot shot with the bow and see if I can get their attention.
All
Actually...
right. Yep.
Do you see the cleric?
My perception was terrible. I'm surprised I see trolls. I'm on a second turn, right?
Yeah, you are at the beginning of a turn now.
Okay. Bonus action to dash another 60 feet.
Bonus action to... Your movement is 60 at this point?
Sorry,
Got it. I see.
right.
Just double checking.
Yeah, so no, I have 30 feet of movement, but I can double that as a bonus action
Got it.
for 60 feet.
You should have control over your token there, so feel free to adjust yourself as needed. And if you don't have control over your token, please let me know.
And I'm going to take a shot with the bow from there.
Okay, you got it. And that is going to be 90, so it is still going to be just outside of the 80 range.
Yeah. Do you want me to roll the other one for disadvantage? I forgot to toggle it.
Yes, please. I need to make some rolls on behalf of these trolls. Okay, so that 14 is not going to be enough. It's a near miss, however, as you are one shy of breaking this troll's AC. Really, it honestly reflects that the arrow makes impact, but it just doesn't get through the kind of like thick kind of hide leather amalgam that they're wearing over their shoulders, and that what with the troll's naturally leathery hide, the arrow is just as if a rose thorn in some chainmail, essentially, based on how deep it made it into the armor. So you are not going to do any damage, but you are certainly going to be able to get their attention, as that is going to accomplish exactly what you were looking for. And with that, initiative will be on. Gale, at this time, go ahead and give me a perception check, as with the twang of that bowstring, it may have carried over the treetops. We will see whether or not you are close enough at hand for that to have... Okay, with a 10, that means that you will have heard it, but unfortunately, it's still going to take you maybe a couple of turns to arrive, as you are just not quite sure as to the origin of that. Likely, the louder this combat becomes, the more you'll be able to find it with ease, and so that might go down, but at the moment, you're a couple turns away.
Okay, so as I do kind of get in close enough to see, I'm going to try to position myself on the other side of where the rest of people are coming from.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Try and come in on the far side of the trolls.
Yeah.
Got it. That is totally possible, especially what with the fact that you are flying and have quite a bit of mobility at your disposal. All right, I just want to. I'm trying to. There's a fair number of old initiatives stuck here in the tracker. Ulta, you can't. Yeah, so that 11 is accurate. The 14 for Kaloon is accurate. 15 for Rydell, 6 for Inel. Okay, those are totally. That makes this much easier. Sorry, what?
I'll wait for mine to roll.
Yeah,
right?
we'll wait for yours to roll because you might arrive sooner. You might arrive later. And these trolls, it looks like, aren't going to be doing so hot, but they're not the worst. One coming in with a 12 and the other coming in with an 11. Their rolls being 1 apart. And then the sack on the wounded ones, or at least the one that's been marked with the arrow, is going to come in at a fairly high initiative. Sorting this now into descending order, we start actually with the captive on the troll's shoulders coming in before anybody else. And the cleric is going to struggle mightily and try and slip out of this troll's grasp, but it is going to have a tight hold on her, and she is not going to be able to break free in this turn or otherwise disturb it or damage it in any way. So that is going to be that check, but she will continue to try and make life difficult for these brutes. That will then put us with a 15 over to Rydell Kadasser. Rydell, our cleric of trickery. What would you like to do?
I can move and dash. And that's it.
Okay. Feel free to adjust your token. But if that's your turn, we go to Kaloon.
All right, my plan is going to be to just move my basic movement up to the shadow of those trees there and take another shot with the short bow.
Okay, you got it. Go ahead and give me that roll as you make your advance. All right, that 10 is not going to be enough, unfortunately. Rydell, sorry.
Before I end my turn, can I bonus action hide in these bushes?
Absolutely. They are large enough that they obscure sight, and you could conceal yourself.
Then
Go
I
ahead
will.
and give me a stealth check, please. All right, 12. You will have to... It remains to be seen whether or not you were able to beat the troll's passive perception. Then, if that... Yeah, that's basically your economy. Kaloon, we are going to pass it over to the first of the trolls. This is the one carrying the sack atop its shoulders. It is going to have to make a decision at this point with its meaty troll brain as to whether or not to stay and do that thing where it really likes, beating up smaller creatures and eating them and all of that stuff and potentially taking all their shiny objects, or complete the mission at hand. It seems like they're going to try and do the former and not the latter. So with that, this troll is going to begin swinging around. And with the sack still on its back, it is going to now charge in the direction Kaloon was in, but not seeing Kaloon is going to... Let me make a roll here. Okay, so with its... movement, it is going to be able to get just a little bit farther because these guys can make it to about there. So this troll is going to be about there now, unaware of Kaloon's presence, but it is going to begin basically sweeping the bushes with its sword. It looks ready to strike at anything that emerges near it. Ulta, it is your turn now, closer to the back of this. I'm going to put a little bit of battle music on, by the way. What am I doing? Ulta, what would you like to do at this time?
I would like to double move, but since I can only do 25, I'd be 50.
Okay. Go for it.
I think that's all I can do.
All right, Ulta, your advance is not necessarily without merit, as the troll nearby is going to see you now as the most obvious target. Rydell having a little bit of cover and sort of barrier with the tree and rock that he is behind. From there, Ulta, if that's your turn, we are then going to pass it over to the other troll, which is now going to whip around and similarly not having enough passive perception to spot Rydell's location, is going to begin charging down the other way to the south now of his current location, looking as if it is going to try and take some sort of cover behind one of the nearby trees there to the south, potentially behind to get out of crossbow or arrow fire. But that is going to be that troll's turn. We go now to Inel. Inel, now tragically still nauseated by the occurrence early, an hour or two ago, a little bit more maybe. What are you going to do here?
Well, it's good thing I still got my mage armor on, but I'm gonna move. Let me check something. Move right there.
All right.
And cast Enlarge on Ulta.
All right. Ulta, you feel the presence of arcane magic beginning to flow through your veins, and at first it's this overwhelming experience as your muscles seem to rip and rend, but then as your structure, your frame also begins to swell in size, they feel now at home, having corded around bones much larger than they were previously, and you are left with both a towering stature and, a considerably enhanced ability to hammer trolls in the head.
And I'm gonna say, please smash them for me. And stay there.
Fantastic.
Okay, from there, Inel, I believe if that's your turn, we go now to top of the order to the captive cleric of Thothemi, who is going to once again attempt to struggle free, but the troll, it looks like, has bound her tightly enough and is strong enough that her struggling and kicking is not going to distract it in any substantial way at this point. And then from there we go to Rydell. Rydell, you see these two trolls advancing. You know that your compatriots have a fair amount of experience. You know that someone else is incoming and that there's only two of them, but still, these things look like they could split a man in two with a single sword swipe. What do you want to do?
I think we should enlarge Ulta's sprite, don't you think? First bird?
Sorry, what?
Ulta is not now a large creature, by the way.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Rydell?
Yes, I'm going to cast Guiding Bolt on the troll with the sack.
Okay, you got it. Guiding Bolt with a 21 is going to hit. Go ahead and roll your damage. As a curious thing seems to happen. Your weaving together of your radiant energy, taking on a much different form than the other clerics we've seen thus far in the game, as it seems to almost emerge from the air around the troll itself. This guiding bolt being less of like a coalesced, like radiant lance or lightning bolt. It seems as if this troll just sort of wanders into this web that's been set before it and is then flayed by this radiant energy running under its skin and creating these terrible wounds that now begin to bleed. You can see the troll begins to lose this sort of almost exuding quality that its skin has that causes this mist to rise out of its very carcass, and now almost seems to draw tight and closer in clarity, your vision of the creature being less obscured and it seeming to have almost like a more solidified mass. That 11 is a fair bit of damage, and of course the next creature to attack it will have advantage. Rydell, that's just your action. You still have other economy. Is there anything else you'd like to do for your turn?
Let me see if I have anything. Don't have any bonus action cantrip, so I'm just gonna move back.
Okay. Go for it. From there, Rydell, if you're just moving back, then we go to Kayloon. Kayloon, hiding in the bushes. What do you want to do?
Can I hold my attack until he's moved further on?
Certainly. So you want to basically hold your attack, like until when the troll has reached the end of its movement.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like for him to when he finishes his movement, I'm gonna take a shot with the short bow.
You got it. Kayloon. Then with that as your attack trigger, and I assume you mean the one with the sack, right?
Yeah, the one that just got hit with guiding bolt.
Got it. So that is going to now take it to that troll's turn, who's seeing the dwarf basically grow in size as the cleric now falls back, is going to readily charge into combat, not thinking twice about locking blades with this creature that is basically just now its size. But after taking a quick movement, it looks like this troll is not going to be able to reach Ulta and also attack in the same turn, which means that it is only going to be able to threaten you in a melee, Ulta, and then it is your turn as the troll runs up, brandishing its great sword, basically waving it about in the air and snarling between its fangs and barred teeth. What are you going to do?
I think his shot was going to go off first, though, right?
Oh, this is true. It has finished the end of its movement. Kayloon?
Yep, let me just bring it up.
No worries.
It is exactly 80 feet away.
That'll do.
And you're at advantage.
For a number of reasons, actually.
Double advantage.
Ooh,
Yes!
and
And
that
sneak
is
attack,
going to be a
sneak attack.
critical success on a sneak attack. Go ahead and roll that damage, Kayloon.
Nice.
Oh man, that is a tide turner in and of itself. After having been struck with that radiant damage so formidably and having robbed it of its regenerative capacity for a moment, that is gonna all cut straight to the bone, as this time, having a better chance to study the troll's gait and kind of loping stance, it's going to, sloping stance, you're going to be able to predict the bobbing of its movements and plant the arrow directly under the guard around its collar, driving it deep into the back of the creature's shoulder and neck. Ulta, you're going to see the arrowhead basically begin to pull out some of the armor on the front of the troll as it looks down and snarls. The creature's size and musculature such that as it flexes its arms, it literally shatters the arrow into its bone and muscle structure, and it cries out again in frustration and pain. But likely this creature has quite a bit of fight left in it yet still, and is yet deadly. Kayloon, that is your short bow attack. It is still the beginning of Ulta's turn, but well placed. Ulta, what would you like to do?
I will attack with my battle axe. And the enlarge, that's a D4 on damage, right?
D6 in this edition. And by this edition, I mean, so you think you can quest.
But nothing on attack, right?
No.
Just wanted to make sure.
Okay, that is going to be enough to hit, certainly. Go ahead and roll your damage.
I want to use a superiority dice to do a disarm that says it can try and drop one item of my choice. I'd like to make him let go of the sack.
Okay, you got it.
And I'm not sure on the... sorry, I haven't done these ones before. It says to use up a superiority dice to do that, but it also says it's a D8. So is that extra damage as well?
So when you basically anytime you use a superiority die, not all the time, it adds to the attack's damage roll. And now basically what happens is the troll has to make a strength saving throw or drop the sack.
Okay.
And did your roll include the enlarged D6?
No, not yet. Sorry, I'd stopped to ask the question. Thank you, though.
worries. It looks like this troll is going to remain stalwart in its ability to hold on to this sack, as it is also sort of secured by ropes, it looks like, or on kind of a sling. But you can see that your attack is almost successful in causing this thing to bend far enough forward in pain as you jab your axe into its side, taking advantage of sort of the tips of the front of it, acting as almost like a crude double spear at the size that it is. And now, as
Did
this...
you roll your battle axe damage?
I did, yes. I do have a second attack as well.
Yep, I was just about to say, this is sort of only one of your attacks, so go ahead. And you still can use more superiority dice if you like.
Does that hit?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I am going to try it again.
All right, go ahead. Roll another D8. Oh, actually, hold on. So that 6 that you rolled, your battle axe would be 1d8 plus.
I actually rolled a 2.
Sure. I was just about to say though. So you should have added it's a D8 to that D6, or to that attack, to that first attack, because there was the D6. From your enlarge, and then there's the D8 that the actual weapon damage is, but you would have also added your superiority die to that.
Okay, that's what I wasn't sure. Okay, so
Yeah,
do I do 2 of them now because I just did a second one?
So roll 2 superiority dies or 2 D8s. I knew there was something about that was slightly off. So that's an additional 5 damage. So that's 9, 8. All right, that is not bad. This thing is looking rough. As the party is able to just heap damage on this creature in the matter of a turn, you can see that with your second swing of your battle axe, the first one kind of this check to the ribs, causing it to lean forward, you then swing it around, bringing it back over your head with increased momentum and plant it in the opposing shoulder that is now so overly exposed with the creature's hunching posture, and you can hear a muscle and bone splinter under the weight of it as the creature howls out, managing to move away just in time to keep the limb from severing entirely. Ulta, those are your 2 attacks. It needs to make a strength saving throw for the second. And it is not going to make it. That is a low roll. Even with its prodigious and brutal strength, the troll is going to drop the sack. From there, we now move on to the other troll, which is going to, Kaloon, having watched you just emerge from the bushes and take that shot at its friend, is going to attempt to attack you, and we shall see how that goes. Oh man, these trolls are just getting wrecked. That troll is not going to be able to hit you. It sweeps forwards, and then with its second attack backwards, and does not make contact. Both of the attacks hitting nothing but air as you are able to duck back down into the sort of hedge-like bushes that you're in and obscure the distance. Moments later, the blade comes sweeping in inches above your head, kind of taking the top off of some of your hiding space, but in that time, saving your life. And that is going to be that troll's turn. We then now go to Inel. Inel, over here towards the back of the line. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna go back a little. Right beside Rydell.
Okay.
And cast Magic Missile at 3rd level on the one who had the sack.
Got it. Go for it. And then at the top of the order, Gale, I'll have you make a perception check, and we'll see if you've been able to zero in on the party in a better manner, as there's been plenty of disturbance at this point, from the trolls yelling to the twanging of more bowstrings and whatnot.
The first one?
Yep, I see it. Go ahead and... All right, that's a 16 perception. That's a marked improvement. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, got it. Nicely
one
done.
More right. One more right.
You're casting it at 3rd level?
Yeah. So
yeah.
It's 5.
Yep, 5. Okay, those are going to go streaking into the troll, and you will find that it is just enough, pushing it past the 10 health that it had left, and basically finishing off the dismembering work that Ulta's battle axe had fallen just short of completing. You will see the troll's arm be blown off, as well as these other large pieces of its chest and ribs begin to crack open from the impact of these magical projectiles that Inel you send streaking across the battlefield, having summoned them through this small crackling rift in your hand. And that is going to fell that troll. Congratulations, party. I feel like that is a marked improvement over the previous encounters with these creatures. That, I saw you move, so that's the end of your turn, I imagine?
Yeah, that's
okay.
my turn.
And then we go to the top of the order. Gale, with that 16 perception, you will have been able to locate the party rather accurately. Go ahead and give me an initiative roll, and I'm going to go ahead and throw you down on the battlefield there. Let me find your token in the... there we are, close to the top. So, Gale, you are basically going to become streaking in hot. You're towards the outskirts of this battlefield, but you can kind of see ahead in the clearing that this one troll is still alive and hacking at these bushes. You can only imagine that there's something or someone inside of it. Maybe it's just gone mad. In the meantime, the sack, aka the cleric, is going to now be down on the ground and attempting to wriggle free. And of course, now that she's free, she gets an almost natural 20 and manages to start slipping her bonds and actually working her way free of what would have been the captivity this round. So that being done, Rydell, it's still your turn. Your friends are still in danger. This troll could easily murder your rogue companion in 1 or 2 rounds if you are unable to down them. What would you like to do?
I'm going to move 30 feet, and then as my action, I'm going to invoke duplicity, creating a perfect illusion duplicate of myself, and I'm gonna place it 30 feet closer to the troll.
Okay, you got it. I just made a duplicate of you. Feel free to move it where you will. And I'm going to mark it with blue so that I remember exactly which one is which. Are you happy with that placement, I guess?
That's a little too far.
Oh, got it. You should be able to shift it around, but noted.
Okay, cool.
So
That's my... that's my action. Just... Hold on. I don't think I'm close enough.
Isn't that a bonus action in Invoke Duplicity? Or mixing it with a virtual weapon?
It's a what?
Isn't it a bonus action is what he's saying.
It says it's an action.
Yeah, I'm confusing it with a virtual weapon, sorry.
And then I am going to actually cast Spiritual Weapon through my duplicate.
Ah.
So I'll be able to... it's not going to hit, but I'll be able to place it at the... I'll be able to threaten the troll.
Got it. I will go ahead and get a weapon on the field for you. Grab a token that's fitting, and in the meantime, obviously, while that is not going to hit, that will, if that's the end of your turn, or were you going to move at all, or?
That's still my economy.
Okay. And then from there, we go to Kayloon. Kayloon, you're kind of literally in the thicket of it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I couldn't help myself. Now, what would you like to do?
I think Kayloon crashed.
Oh, did Kayloon crash? I'm not looking at the broadcast. Oh, Kayloon crashed. Oh
no.
Kayloon.
At least he missed the pun.
Oh, I love puns.
I do too. Honestly, it's funny.
All right.
He typed in chat.
Yeah.
He says
bonus dodge, move, bow shot. All right, Kayloon, I appreciate it. Go ahead and roll that.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, perfect.
There you go.
So, by bonus dodge, did you mean disengage or did you mean dodge?
I do mean dodge.
Okay, got it. So go ahead and roll your attack.
So the reason I dodged is that I have to move first or take the attack at disadvantage.
Right. So that is going to fortunately save you, as the disadvantage will force its roll down to a 3 on the dice, and so even with its prodigious attack bonus, it is not going to be enough to hit the clever rogue. That is going to be your move, and then your bow shot. Go ahead and...
Sorry, that shouldn't have been an advantage.
That's fine. That 17 is still enough to hit. That second attack kind of irrelevant in this case.
And no sneak, right? Because he knows I'm there.
No sneak, unfortunately, no. And there's still not a flanking agent in play. So that also needs to grab that token for that. For the spiritual weapon. Time is getting away from me. So with that, 7 damage. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and mark that. This troll has yet to take any radiant, and so you will find that even with what should be a fairly stunning blow, it seems unconcerned with the arrow plunging into its body, as if readily aware of the fact that its internal constitution will deal with this at some point. Then, Kayloon, is that everything for your turn?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay, you got it. Then we go over now to the dead troll, who I will trim from the initiative, and then to Ulta. Ulta, it is your turn.
All right, let's see if I don't think I can get to him in one, so I might move twice. I think that's as far as I can get.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I'm going to do for now.
You could use your action to dodge, maybe.
What would that do for me?
Disadvantage if it try to attack you.
Oh, I'll do that then.
All right. Bonus action to
Thank you.
to dodge and
No problem.
Or sorry, action to dodge rather, and that will Ulta at the end of your turn. Turn it over now to the troll, who has a decision to make.
Am I still in?
Sorry, what?
Am I in the initiatives?
You came in with a 9, so yes, you will be coming in right after this troll who's got the 11. But let me make sure that you're.
Okay, I just didn't see it in the list.
No, yeah, it didn't track it. If you don't click on your token before you roll it, it never doesn't track in. That's not your fault, but just there we go. There we go.
I'm going to yell curses at it, so maybe it'll attack me instead of them.
Both of you actually have the dodge action going right now, so the question is just who's going to be more survivable. Ooh. Oh.
Oh no.
Okay, so it looks like Kayloon is going to get attacked, but Kayloon, the troll, is going to waste a perfectly good natural 20 on a disadvantage roll. And the opposite of that being a 5, it's not going to be able to hit you. And it looks like these trolls are not going to be having a good time of this, as it then passes over to Gale's turn. Gale, you are up.
All right, finally, so I make it in here, and I'm going to, since I'm flying, I'm going to fly over here above this tree.
All right.
And then I'm going to materialize my packed weapon, which is improved and happens to be a heavy crossbow in this case, and I'm going to fire on that troll.
All right, go ahead and roll that attack roll.
Again,
That is unfortunately not going to be enough to hit. You will have advantage, however, because this troll definitely does not expect you. And that is enough to hit. So go ahead and roll that damage as you manage to catch this troll pretty flat-footed. And, ooh, with a 13, that is going to sink in deep as that crossbow bolt plunges into the troll's flesh. You can feel this sort of telltale warmth begin to flood through your packed weapon as you can sense your kind of inherent warlock energies feeding on this very damage that you've dealt to this creature as an extension of your magical will. Gale, that's your movement and your attack. I believe.
Activate my Eldritch Smite.
All right.
And send a bit more damage into that creature.
Go for it. All right. That is gonna burn up. So that you're using third level smite then?
Correct.
Okay, got it. So that does burn a spell slot, but well done, as those damage rolls are going to be above average, and that 20 is going to heap onto this troll. Now, having taken quite a bit, actually, in just the last short round, you're going to see as the eldritch energy channeled through this crossbow bolt, like almost the tether of a lightning rod, is gonna cause chunks of this troll to start exploding from underneath, like popping, literally due to the surging energy and the sheer disruption disruption of its muscle tissue. Gale, that's your attack and your movement. Anything else for your turn?
I will land on the ground.
Unfortunately, that is more movement because you can't go down for free.
I will hover.
All right.
Where I
So
retrieve.
then from there, that is...
For Scriber,
Yeah, what's up?
the Eldritch Might says that if the creature is huge or smaller, it's prone. So
It is, if it's huge or smaller, then it is in fact prone.
nice, good job, Gil.
And then Inel, it is your turn.
Well, if we're doing force damage, well, allow me to go to. I'm gonna cast a magic missile at level 2 this time.
Go for it.
I'm just gonna roll a 4d4 and add 4 to it. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna roll 4d4 and we're gonna add 4 to it. It's okay?
Yeah. Okay.
13 force damage.
13 force damage on top of what it's already taken is not going to be enough to down this creature. However, you will see it beaten to a pulp as it is now bleeding actively. It looks as if a boxer in the final rounds of a fight, its face beginning to swell. And with that, Inel, that's your attack in terms of your action. Is there anything else for your turn?
I'm gonna say, Rydell, do your radiant, please. And my turn.
All right. Then we go now to the captured cleric, who is apparently going to get caught trying to get out of the sack once more, and is going to end up rebound up in the ropes and bindings in the sack as she rolls a natural 1. And then Rydell, it is your turn. What would you like to do?
Okay, I'm going to... Yeah, I'm going to cast Sacred Flame from my duplicate.
Okay. Got it. It is going to be able to make the dexterity saving throw.
Yeah. Then I'm going to use my bonus action to move my duplicate 30 feet so it's flanking.
Okay.
And that's all I got.
Got it. From there we go to Kayloon. Kayloon, you are now fortunately being joined by some of your allies, and you've managed to dance outside of this creature's attacks so far. Will your luck hold? What will you do?
Can I draw a weapon as a item interaction?
Absolutely.
Then I'm going to draw one of my short swords rather than an arrow out of my quiver. And I'm going to take the advantage attack on a prone opponent.
You got it.
That was your bow.
It was. Same modifier, though.
Oof. That is unfortunately not going to be enough to cut it. And even though the troll is still thrashing on the ground, Kayloon, as you go to attack it with your sword, you're going to find that the beast is just too volatile for you to even really like strike at it, as it's almost like a thrashing beast caught in a trap at this point. Now, that is going to be just your attack action. Is there anything else for your turn?
I'm going to bonus action disengage and
Okay.
Move over by my very large friend now.
All right. And then that will bring it to your very large friend's turn. Ulta.
I'm gonna step in between them and beat the pulp out of it if I can.
Okay. Bring that axe to bear. Let's see what you've got. It is flanked, so you do have advantage. And that will hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
forget my d6.
Yes.
All right. With a crack, you will split open this creature's rib cage. It is still not dead, however, as it continues to scream in pain. This thing looking as if its regenerative abilities are almost torturing it at this point for the fact that it is being kept on the brink of life. Ulta, that is your first attack. Go ahead and make your second attack. Neither one of those is going to hit, unfortunately.
Okay. I do want to use an action surge.
Okay.
And
All right, go
take
for it.
an additional action.
That'll give you 2 more full attacks if that's what you're after. So go ahead.
Yes.
That first one, that 17 will hit. Go ahead and roll. All right, now we're getting into just overkill territory as Ulta begins to swing again and again and again with this axe, thwack after thwack, basically taking more and more of this troll's like body apart. And that second attack, that 14 is just shy of what you need to beat its AC. At this point, this troll is down. Ulta, those attacks being very successful, if it were not for this troll's abilities to regenerate, it would not be able to stand up at this time. But you will see almost as if an undead or some sort of terrible monstrosity, in despite of its wounds and its missing fingers and flesh having fallen to the ground, the troll rises.
I just keep trying to hack at it until someone can down it.
And that is going to put it to the troll's turn, who is going to finally actually be able to get away. This is the first successful troll attack for this entire encounter. That is going to then cause you a total of... Ulta, you're going to take 14 damage. Not a bad swing. But that is going to put it to Gale's turn, as that is the end of what that troll can accomplish right now. Gale, you are up.
So from my perch in the tree there, I'm going to shoot out an Eldritch Blast, both beams directed on this troll here.
Okay. Go for it.
You doing that with advantage?
At this point, yes, because the creature is flanked. That 18 hits. All right, that 8 damage is going to be enough to knock it again to its feet. It was off its feet as the creature is literally at very minuscule amounts of health. Its regenerative capacity being the only thing keeping it up. So Gale, you once more blast this thing into a state of nigh oblivion. Its regeneration working hard to try and keep it alive. Gale, that's your attack. Anything else?
So that's 2 beams. Did you see I got an 8 and a 9 damage?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Yes, from there, that's all I got.
All right. Then we pass it over to Inel. Inel, is your turn.
I'm just gonna hold the spell.
Okay.
I'm gonna just hold fire bolt on.
Got it. From there, it will go over to the cleric, who will now struggle free on her turn, overcoming her prior difficulty. And then we go to Rydell. Rydell, the cleric, what are you going to do at this point?
If I did Sacred Flame from my duplicate, would that be at disadvantage?
Oh, you mean for the troll?
Yeah.
I believe because it's a saving throw, it's just the saving throw is as it is.
Okay. So I'll do Sacred Flame.
All right. The troll is at low enough health and also low enough of dexterity at this time that sacred flame will hit, and it will effectively snuff out its regenerative abilities in this moment of death, effectively ceasing the troll's life, causing it to grow no longer, and ending the combat here right at a minute over the 4-hour mark. Congratulations to our players. And I think that also this goes as a great indication of the sort of shift in power level, as before 2 of these creatures would have likely sent the party running into the hills. Now they are barely scratched on the other side of it, only having expended a handful of spells and sacrificed but scant HP. We will leave this as sort of where we are, and when we come back on this coming Sunday, we'll pick up where we left off. In the meantime, the players have quite a bit to discuss. As though they have formed a battle plan this evening, there are still many more facets to the operation they are about to try and attempt, and I wouldn't be surprised if by next week they had a completely different plan entirely. But that is not the only focus of the evening, of course, because we do have a precious stone to give away. I will go get those posted into the stream right now. Oh, that's the dice. We are looking at either the Wonderstone or the Uperlight. And based on the events of this session, I think I'm gonna pass out that I'm gonna do a roll-off between Kylun and Gale, as they both sort of had the critical natural 20s over the course of this game that really kind of changed a lot of the outcomes. There weren't that many rolls tonight, actually, as after the council had resolved, the players were more or less just in a state of steady debate. But now that being determined, Gale, Kaloon, go ahead and roll d20s into the chat to see which one of you goes home with a precious stone. All right. It looks like it is going to be none other than Gale Warcrier. What with the clutch spot that prevented the party from potentially losing their abductee and the source of their much needed radiant damage in the battle to come, and on top of that, having a beastly eldritch smite from a distance with that crossbow damage really took a lot of the potential DPS from that second troll away. So congratulations. Which one of these stones would you like?
I really like the one on the blue cord.
Okay.
Teardrop looking one.
Excellent. That is the Wonderstone. And now I have, I've got green, red, black, and blue for the cords. Do you have a color preference?
I actually like that blue one.
Thank you. I'm trying to match them based on, I think, what looks the best, but that's by no means a necessity. And with the stone given away to our champion for the evening, that leaves us now with this set of dice. Brand new, barely out of the box, and donated to us by our sponsor, Kronos Games and Gifts. And I would remind that this is eligible for anyone out there in the Twitch chat right now. I'm just looking for a click here or a hey or an anything to let me know that you are currently out there watching, and thus a viable potential winner of this set of dice, which I will ship to you at no expense of your own. So stand and be counted, Twitch. I'm going to give it just another second. If there's anybody else out there who'd like to just throw their hat in simply and get a chance to win a pair of dice, but it doesn't seem like people are climbing over themselves. So with that, I'm going to make a roll based on... That's 7 people, so I'll just use a D8 and take the 1 off of it and see what happens. All right, it looks like this set of dice is going to be going to none other than one Reyna, aka our current Ulta, actually. So congratulations, your troll splitting action is not going to go unrewarded. And as a reminder to everybody else, we will be giving out small prizes like this every week. And whether or not you are a contestant or a registered player or any of that, as a fan of the show, if you want to hang out, these sorts of things will be available to you. So thank you very much, and make sure to spread the word. The more you and your friends you have in the chat, the higher likelihood that you or someone you know is gonna walk away with a fresh set of dice. And I also now have been getting a couple more varieties of things from my sponsor, so I'm gonna have some old school minis to give away. I kind of found this blast from the past set of like discontinued Tolkien miniatures that are from a long time ago. I'm trying to still get a date on when they were manufactured, but those will be fun things that we're going to be giving away. Really anything that fits in a bubble mailer. So thank you all so much, our players, contestants, fans, everybody out there in the audience, for watching. Don't forget that our adventurers are also raising money for rotating community charities, as a portion of all the proceeds from this show do go to different charities. As well as now, by the end of this session, our prize pool will have escalated somewhere between probably about $3 to $5 in value. And so when we rejoin them on Sunday, the total prize that they are competing for to enter the dungeon underneath Hope's Rise and begin to best whatever deadly traps or terrible denizens it might contain, there will be continuing escalating prizes just to make this interesting. Now, I'm going to disappear for a few minutes and then rejoin our lucky patrons in an after-hours patron chat where we discuss the oncoming advent of what will be the story companion to So You Think You Can Quest. In the meantime, I'm going to leave you with all of that and just say thank you so much again to everyone who's been involved with this. And if there's only one thing you ask yourself between now and Sunday, so... you think you can quest? And here we reach the end of our tale. For now, join us again next time on the Guild of Mazes presents So You Think You Can Quest.
Every day I'm hustling. Just one possession checks brings every trap that's it. Oh, dungeon masters hate when I sit down to play, 'cause